Unexpectedly, Diepole, a modern man, wakes up in a strange ancient world. Soon he realizes he's wearing a dragon robe, the emperor himself. Ironically, the empire's a wreck, barely holding together, lost lands, princesses forced to marry for peace, classic downfall package. Worse, ministers rebel while enemies hover at the borders, yet Diepole swears he'd rather die on his feet than live on his knees. So he decides the scheming courtiers have had enough fun. In his first court session, he smashes a few fools to set the tone, then he starts building a mighty wolf-rider army of hundreds of thousands. The palace turns into his stage for crushing treacherous ministers. Meanwhile, his beloved consort keeps feeding him tonics for imperial vigor. It all begins one weird night, lights flickering like a cheap drama. Suddenly, a girl appears holding an edict like she's about to behead someone. Before Diepole reacts, she slams it in his face, yelling for him to sign. Is dumbstruck. The Taifi leaps on the table, eyes blazing, shouting the whole court will die if he refuses. She shakes the decree so hard it trembles, urging, sign, Daddy will handle the rest. Staring at the words, Diepole realizes he really did time travel into an emperor's body. Instead of panicking, he goes rogue and hugs Taifei by the waist, then spins her around the hall, laughing like a lunatic emperor. He thinks, no modern girls, find 3,000 palace beauties await. The girl blushes, whispering if his majesty's going a bit too far. Diepole snorts, surrender land for peace. Dream on, barbarians. He smacks her rear, shouting hell never sign or bow. For men of great weight never kneel. The emperor defends the border to the end. Yet secretly, his thoughts drift far from imperial dignity. Taifei, furious from the fall, trembles that this mad king dares provoke her. She flicks her hair proudly, orders his execution, claiming her father will soon rule. Her followers draw swords, chanting to slay the emperor and crown the Grand Minister Tay. They charge blades at Diepole's throat. He panics, begging for a little more life. Suddenly, a sword flashes in from the window like lightning. The steel pierces the nearest assassin, dropping him instantly. A figure lands heroically amid the bloody chaos. A cold voice rings. Which? You dare rebel? It's Tuoxinzai, the empire's top guardian. Diepole freezes, thinking what a waste for such a beauty to stay so icy. Taifei grits her teeth, shouting that Tuoxinzai was exiled. How dare she return? Tuoxinzai just smirks. Those weaklings catching me. What a joke. Diepole steps beside her, wraps her waist, laughing loud, taunting Taifei for challenging the best in the world. He even winks and throws hearts in thanks, making Tuoxinzai shiver from sheer cringe. Tuoxinzai pushes him off, sternly accuses Taifei of treason, ordering her surrender. Taifei laughs scornfully, brandishing her sword. You alone dare face me? Just then, a deep voice from the doorway says, what if you add me? It's Xia Yang, commander of the Imperial Guard. Diepole grins wide, giving a thumbs-up. Perfectly timed rescue. Xia Yang kneels, apologizing for arriving late and begging punishment. Diepole lifts him cheerfully, saying he's just in time and assigns him to crush the rebels. Realizing the tide's turned, Taifei snarls, you dare block my path. In rage, she rips off her robe, revealing tight black gear. Steel needles ready, you'll never lose. Come on. Diepole just gawks at her curves in that outfit, nose bleeding, muttering like watching a superhero movie. Suddenly, Taifei lunges at him, needle flashing, shouting his death sentence. Tuoxinzai and Xia Yang jump to guard him, but Taifei twists midair, striking at Tuoxinzai with a wicked grin. In that life-or-death instant, Diepole's brain runs like a supercomputer. He imagines grabbing Taifei and slamming her down in an epic wristlock move, then pictures himself the hero hugging Tuoxinzai, declaring, now it's my turn to protect you. Reality check. His just clinging to Taifei's leg, babbling, she's mine. He'll protect her, while she screams in fury. Tuoxinzai freezes, baffled that this cowardly king would risk himself for her. Taifei rages, aiming her needle at Diepole, prompting Tuoxinzai to command the capture of all traitors. After a fierce battle, Taifei and her followers lie bound on the ground. Xia Yang reports all rebels caught and awaits orders, while Diepole rubs a giant bump the guards accidentally gave him. Grumbling, he suddenly smiles, praising Xia Yang's service, leaving the general stunned by this sugar-sweet emperor. Just then, Taifei softly murmurs she was only joking and begs his majesty not to be angry. She pleads as a loyal consort, trembling in fear. Diepole secretly thinks, Oscar-level acting. She then leans close, whining to blow on his bump, making Diepole blush and stammer. With teary eyes, she asks shyly, will your majesty forgive this servant? She doubles down with a honeyed voice, begging release and swearing eternal loyalty. Overwhelmed by her tenderness, Diepole's eyes mist. He can't tell it was right anymore. Dizzy like standing beneath a snow mountain, he feels tiny in a spinning world. The nosebleed explosion, he faints on the spot, face blissfully dazed. Two little rabbits nearby stare blankly, wondering why their emperor just collapsed over snow peaks. While he's still dazed, Taifei coos sweetly, promising obedience if his majesty would just help her up. Hearing that, Xia Yang explodes, pointing at her, your majesty, allow me to execute this witch now. Taifei smirks at Tuoxinzai, boasting the emperor would never dare kill her. Suddenly, Diepole jumps up and slaps her so hard she flies 10 meters, crashing down. Gritting his teeth, he orders, drag this traitor to the dungeon and guard her tight. Xia Yang freezes, stunned that his once-Setamid king could be so fierce. Deep-like commands the Imperial Guard to seal the palace and hunt down all rebels. Tae-Fei is dragged off screaming for her father's vengeance. Her father, Tae-chun, the scheming Grand Chancellor, has long dreamed of usurping the throne. Diepla takes a deep breath, vowing to survive and reclaim everything no matter the world. Then he glances at Tuxinjai, wondering how the heck to flirt with her now, but her icy stare freezes him. He quickly switches to thanks and promises rewards. Secretly fearing she'll see through his act, Tuxinjai coolly replies, "It's my duty, no reward needed, Your Majesty." Before leaving, she warns him gravely that Tae-Fei was only the first thread in a long web of conspiracy, while her words stab like steel. Deepla just admires her curves, thinking, perfect symmetry. 10-10. Suddenly, he kneels on one knee, grabs her hand, begging her to join him in overthrowing Tai-chun. Tuxinjai jerks free, eyes sharp. You let him rule unchecked for years. Think it's that easy now? Deeply grins defiantly. If I do it, he'll purge the court and take back power. None shall look down on me again. Then he pulls her close, whispering, when I reclaim the realm, you'll be my empress. Got it. Tuxinjai blushes, sighs, then nods. Fine, he'll wager on you once, she adds sternly, but you must agree to 3 conditions, making Deeply beam like a kid. Blurting, 300's fine too. First, focus on state affairs and avoid wine and women, he swears. Of course, I'm all about health now, plenty of beauties in house anyway. Second, heed wise counsel and discern loyalty. He clings to her leg. He'll only listen to you, look at you, obey you. Third, train in martial arts and remember to like 09 review. Deeply laughs then salutes. Train hard, stay strong. After sealing the deal, he slings an arm around her, laughing. All agreed. Now you must promise to be my empress. She blushes. If your majesty keeps your word. He collapses joyfully. Magnificent. Tuxinjai raises her sword solemnly. If you fulfill it all, I'll be your empress. But before romance can bloom, she kicks him flat, coldly warning, break the bet, and face the pain. Got it. Groaning on the floor, Deeply still grins. All right, my crown prince, I swear it. Tuxinjai frowns. So what exactly do you want me to do? He leans close, whispering something so secret even the wind can't catch it. Next morning, in the Golden Hall, Deeply sits tall on the throne as hundreds of officials kneel and chant, "Long live the emperor." He waves regally for them to rise, but inside his giddy being king is absolutely peak existence. Suddenly, a deep voice echoes, "Your Majesty, I have urgent matters to report." It's Tae-chun, the powerful Grand Chancellor and father of Tae-Fei, coldly demanding why his daughter's jailed in the death cell. Tuxinjai grips her sword, eyeing Deeply warily, unsure how he'll react. Deeply frowns. "Chancellor, do you not know Tae-Fei plotted rebellion and tried to assassinate me?" Internally cursing the old fool king for years of stupidity, Tae-chun calmly counters, "From what I know, Tae-Fei is loyal. Your Majesty may be deceived." Deeply smirks, "So you're saying I'm lying?" His retort shocks the court. Murmurs spread as Tae-chun flushes in fury. While Tuxinjai smiles faintly, seems the emperor has truly changed. Yet Tae-chun signals his ally, Minister Chu Dong, who declares loudly, "This must be fully investigated. Everyone in the palace should be interrogated." Deeply grits his teeth. Well played, Tae-chun, using your pawns to twist truth into lies. Chu Dong chimes in, insisting Tae-Fei was framed. He adds they should question everyone that night. Rage burns in Dia, but he keeps calm and asks coolly, "Then who do you think the real culprit is?" Chu Dong points at Xia Yang, shouting, "I saw it clearly, the traitor is him," then turns to Tuxinjai, scheming, "And that female guard too, they're both suspicious." Just as he's about to pile on more accusations, bam! Deeply punches him square in the jaw, teeth flying, roaring, "Anyone else got words?" Fury blazing. Deeply snarls, "They saved my life and you dare accuse them?" Tae-chun scolds, "Your Majesty, that violates decorum." Deeply laughs coldly, "Decorum is what I decide." Tuxinjai and Yang exchange stunned looks. Never thought their emperor would defend them like this. Chu Dong clutches his face, trembling, shouting, "You tyrant!" Deeply shrugs, smirks at Tae-chun. Hear that? He insulted the son of heaven. Death penalty? Tae-chun's face turns ghostly pale. Deeply orders loudly, "Send Chu Dong to the death prison for execution," secretly planning to cripple Tae-chun's power network. As Xiang drags Chu Dong away, the man screams for mercy, but Tae-chun grits his teeth and snaps, "Silence! You've offended the emperor. There's no pardon." Deeply says icily, "Since the chancellor agrees, take him away." Sweat pours down Tae-chun's back. Losing a trusted aide weakens him badly. He pleads, "Your Majesty." Though he erred, his service spans decades. Please spare him for my sake. Deeply raises an eyebrow, repeating, "Your sake." Tae-chun smirks inside, thinking the young king will soon back down, but Deeply slams the table, voice sharp as steel, "Your sake's worth nothing. He insulted me. Death is justice." Still refusing to yield, Tae-chun proposes, "If your Majesty deems him guilty, let the court vote. Should all agree, I'll accept, but if any dissent, please withdraw the order." Tuxinjai glances around nervously. Most ministers belong to Tae-chun's camp. Deeply just smirks, "Vote then, let's see who wins," and asks, "Does Chu Dong deserve death or not?" The officials chorus objections, some fake solemnity. Others snicker, all thinking the young emperor is about to fall into the trap. Deeply smiles coldly. It's exactly as he expected. Taechun, you're finished. He thinks. Taechun gloats. No one objects. Will your majesty still insist on execution? Deeply says nothing, just claps his hands lightly. Taechun pales, glancing toward the door. Uneasy, what trick is he pulling now? The hall doors burst open. Sai Yang leads in a group shouting. Chudong's crime deserves death. Their loyal ministers once imprisoned the Grand General, the imperial physician, and the court astrologer. The group kneels, voices thundering. Long live his majesty. 10,000 years. Deeply helps them up kindly. You are cleared of all charges and restored to rank. Taechun nearly chokes in rage, while Deeply thinks, time to right the wrongs done to these loyal men. Tuxinzai recalls last night Deeply's quiet order. Go free them from the dungeon. I'll need them at dawn. Seeing the plan succeed, her heart warms. The emperor has truly changed. Deeply strolls calmly up to Taechun, patting his shoulder. He says coolly, so, Chancellor, still think Chudong shouldn't die? Taechun bows stiffly, as your majesty wishes, but remember the nation's fragile. Don't dishearten the court. Pretending weak, he mutters. I feel unwell. May I withdraw? Inside fuming, this young emperor's far shrewder than I thought. Watching him leave, Deeply smiles arrogantly. You against me, too green. Your show ends here. Below, Chudong screams as Xia Yang drags him off. Chancellor, save me. But no one dares answer. Once Taechun exits, the other ministers feign illness to some clutch bellies. Others cough begging leave. Deeply chuckles, a mass sick leave rebellion. Cute, he immediately orders them all expelled, forbidden to return till they write 3,555 self-reflection essays. Turning to the remaining officials, Deeply beams, your turn, gentlemen. Tuxinzai quickly intervenes, fearing a paralyzed court, but Deeply only smiles. This is the chance to rebuild with loyal men. Then he sincerely addresses the court. I once erred, but now am awake. Let us rule together for the realm. The officials exchange looks, some nod with joy. Others stroke beards in thought until one steps forward, pledging full support. Delighted, Deeply shouts for unity, to crush the schemers, and orders the petitions brought forth. Moments later, servants haul in a mountain of documents. Groaning under the weight, Deeply gawks, stammering at the endless workload. After a long day, he collapses into his chair, exhausted but pleased to have gained loyal allies. As the officials depart, Deeply suddenly thinks of Tuxinzai, heart racing. He strides off grinning, eager to see his precious treasure. But before he can enjoy peace, a eunuch rushes and Princess of Namyang tried to hang herself rather than marry the Turks. Barely saved in time, Deeply sighs so much for peace. Meanwhile, at the Zhou residence, a servant clings to Deeply's legs, sobbing and begging mercy for the princess, pleading he choose someone else for the political marriage. Deeply calmly replies it was Taefi's scheme. She's imprisoned now. At her chamber door, he asks after her, hearing she's still unconscious. He worries that if she dies, the Zhou clan will hate him forever. Inside sits Zhou Jiani, Deeply's childhood friend, staring sadly toward the door upon hearing the emperor approaches. Seeing her, Deeply freezes, captivated by her beauty and silently cursing fate for forcing such a woman into a marriage of sacrifice. But Zhao Jiani turns away coldly, voice trembling with anger. She doesn't want to see him. Deeply stays gentle, saying he only came to visit, and that the royal physician has already checked on her. Hearing him call her by her childhood name, Zhao Jiani stiffens, tears falling silently. After a pause, she asks softly yet sharply, "You're not really the emperor, are you?" Deeply's heart nearly stops. Terrified his secret is exposed, he fakes a cough to cover, replying, "And when did I stop being emperor?" She sobs that the man who once swore to protect her is now forcing her to marry. Seeing her cry, Deeply exhales in relief. Thank heavens, not about the time travel. Suddenly, Zhao Jiani bolts from the room like a gust of wind, shocking everyone. Deeply dashes after her, panic-stricken she might try again to end her life. She runs, sobbing, shouting she'd rather die than be humiliated by marrying the Turks. Servants in Deeply chase, pleading in vain. Finally, Deeply catches and holds her tight, declaring, "I'll never let you be forced into marriage. If needed, I'll go to war to protect you." She chokes up, whispering, "Your Majesty." His words ring like a vow to defend the realm even at the cost of his life. Touched but uncertain, Zhao Jiani sniffles. "Truly." Deeply nods, telling her she'll understand one day, then gently excuses himself. Before leaving, he lifts her softly back to bed, telling her to eat and rest well. She blushes and murmurs, Exiting, he orders the servants to guard her closely, secretly praising himself for being so heroic. They bow, while Zhao Jiani watches his back, lips trembling as if to call out. Back at the palace, Deeply slumps into a chair, exhausted. When Xia Yang enters asking about plans against the Turks, Deeply reassures him he has won. Tuxinzai leans in curiously. Deeply lays out the reports. The Turks are split into 3 major factions, outwardly united, secretly at odds. Their Khagan dominates the 2 princes, but one resents his granted lands, their alliance fracturing over power struggles. Tuxinzai adds that Prince Xiaoxian has fallen under the Khagan's control. Deeply's eyes gleam. Then the enemy of my enemy shall be our ally. Catching his meaning, Tuxinzai asks to confirm, does His Majesty plan to divide the Turks from within? Deepley slams the table excitedly, saying if they win one faction over, the balance will crumble. He stresses they must quickly approach the left-wise prince and use him to weaken the Turks internally. Seeing his enthusiasm, Tuxinzai calmly advises choosing a clever, brave, adaptable envoy. Xia Yang suddenly recalls someone perfect in the capital in Billy, the man's famed for eloquence, cunning, boldness with caution, and commanding presence ideal for the mission, but Xia Yang warns the court had invited him thrice and been refused, had rather drink and write poems than serve the throne. Deeply just laughs, real talent always has quirks. Find him quietly and tell no one. Xia Yang leaves beaming, grateful the emperor didn't lose his temper, while Deeply watches, baffled why is so happy. Left alone with Tuxinzai, Deepa leans close, lips pursed as if to kiss, pretending to discuss tea and outdoor bathing strategy. Unmoved, Tuxinzai flicks his forehead and says coolly, forget tea, try sword practice instead. That night in the courtyard, Tuxinzai lands gracefully, sword pointed at him, your majesty, prepare yourself. Deeply stays calm, catching the blade lightly with a smirk, not bad. Then suddenly he twists aside and wraps his arms around her. They fall, but she ends up on top of him instead. Her face flushes, whispering softly, your majesty. Then she leans in and kisses him gently, your majesty, except it's all in Deepa's imagination outside. He's just daydreaming, drooling like a love-struck fool. Tuxinzai's voice booms, snapping him awake, arms crossed. She demands, what are you dreaming about? Deeply panics, mumbling he only wanted to learn fancy sword moves for fun. She sternly says he can't even master basic stances yet, start with strength and balance training first. Martial arts, she reminds, are to protect himself even when she's not there. Deepla widens his eyes, jealous tone creeping in, not there. You planning to leave me? Thinking he can't let a beauty like her slip away. Calmly, Tuxinzai presses his shoulders down, adjusting his form, ordering focus. Deepla groans dramatically, trembling. How can anyone endure this? Watching his pitiful struggle, she blushes faintly and chuckles, her gaze softening. Then she steps closer, bending down to whisper, all right, you'll humor your majesty this once. Deeply freezes, enchanted by her scent. Heart swelling, my wife truly is heaven's masterpiece. But as he turns his head, his eyes accidentally lock onto a dazzlingly springtime scene before him, stealing his breath away. The shock makes his face flush and nose gush blood. He wonders if this is true happiness at last. Tuxinzai stares wide-eyed. Your majesty, why are you bleeding from the nose? Yili kneeled on one leg with a shady grin that only made her angrier. Unable to stand it, Tutamzai kicked him flying and yelled, you pervert, train properly. Even while soaring through the air, Yili was lost in sweet fantasies, grinning like an idiot. Meanwhile, in the cold darkness of the dungeon, the guards outside dropped dead after a few swift sword strikes. Without a sound, inside, a man in black knelt and said, Miss, King Guy follows the old master's order to rescue you. The woman's voice was icy. That damned emperor humiliated me. He'll destroy everything he loves. She handed King Guy something, ordering him to disguise himself and deliver it to the emperor tomorrow. Thunder boomed outside. King Guy bowed and replied, yes, my lady. At that moment, Yili was still training under Tutamja's watch, aching all over but enduring for her smile. Then, Xia Yang returned, reporting that entirely refused to enter the palace for an audience. Instead of anger, Yili was thrilled, deciding to personally invite him, just the kind of stubborn hero he wanted. Not seeing Tutamzai around, Yili asked Xia Yang. He answered she was in secluded cultivation today. Yili sighed in boredom, mumbling, well, that's no fun. Then his eyelid twitched nonstop. His gut told him trouble was brewing. That night at Ting Feng Tower, Yili and Xia Yang ran around shouting, Tamzai, my wife, where are you? A maid rushed out. Surprise, your majesty. Didn't you summon General to Yanju Palace this morning? Yili's face darkened. He grabbed her and barked. When did I say that? She trembled, explaining a eunuch brought the message about his sudden illness. Xia Yang said only he and Fu Shou were in the imperial study all day. Yili immediately ordered a full lockdown to search Hu Tamzi. Suddenly, a soldier ran in, shouting, your majesty, the imperial consort has escaped from the purple prison. Yili kicked a tree furiously, roaring, I knew it. He gritted his teeth. Tutamzai's disappearance must be tied to the consort, and ordered a full interrogation. As everyone knelt trembling, Yili's icy gaze swept across them. There's a traitor among you. Step forward. No one confessed. Yili raised his sword coldly. Fine, then died together, secretly pleased by his fearsome reputation. Just then, he spotted a sneaky eunuch trying to slip away. Yili faked a sword swing. The eunuch panicked, dodged, and sobbed, your majesty, I didn't betray Lady Tu. Yili coolly replied, first, I never said who was harmed. Second, an old man dodging that fast, suspicious indeed. The eunuch trembled, stammering hopelessly, I know nothing. Even if I die, I won't talk. Yili stepped closer, voice low, the consort treated you well. Huh, speak, where are they? The man just shook and sweated. Yili's face darkened, murderous aura freezing the air. He pressed his sword to the man's shoulder, growling, scared yet? Nope. Then he'll cut your fingers one by one. Terrified, the eunuch confessed they took her to a cargo boat on West Lake where the consort hides. Without hesitation, Yili ordered the eunuch imprisoned and the palace sealed. vowing if Tamzai was hurt, every eunuch would pay. Meanwhile, Tamzai slowly woke up, dizzy and confused. Where am I? Wasn't I meeting His Majesty? A sinister laugh echoed. Taiyu stepped out, mocking that even after heavy drugs, she still survived. Truly the top martial master. Tamzai glared. Taiyu, you escaped prison and used such filth. His Majesty will punish you. Taiyu laughed madly. Ha! I doubt hell come in time. She sneered. Ill let him watch his pure general defiled by these filthy men. Tamzai spat. Just kill me. Kill you. Too easy. I want him to see you ruined. Worthless. Taiyu hissed coldly. She waved her hand, ordering, well, serve lady too nicely for me. The men lunged, groping and jeering. Hif, be good, pretty one. Tamzai shut her eyes in despair, thinking only, Your Majesty, even in another life, I'd choose you. The four men laughed wildly, ready to strike. Ha! Look at you now. Tamzai, they howled, but suddenly, before touching her, all four were sent flying backward. In an instant, they collapsed, unconscious on the ground. Taiyu screamed in shock. Who's there? The door burst open. Yili appeared, one arm around Tamzai, the other holding a blazing sword. Taiyu, you touched my woman. No god can save you now. In his arms, Tamzai trembled, whispering weakly, I, Your Majesty. Then, half delirious, she mumbled, was the tofu tasty? Leaving Yili momentarily stunned. Taiyu raged, pointing, you dog emperor, you came this far. Yili coolly replied, a bit later, and it'd be pushing daisies. Drawing his sword, he shouted, wretch, come, I'll use the martial arts my wife taught me to end you. Tamzai tried to stop him, but his resolve blazed. Taiyu screamed in fury, slashing her sword. Die, you dog emperor. Tamzai cried out, Your Majesty, plant your foot and guard your chest. Yili obeyed instantly, replying, understood. With precise movement, Yili blocked and countered, forcing Taiyu back in shock. She snarled, damn it, since when were you this skilled? Yili grinned, since I got a wife named Tamzai, I've been training daily. Taiyu gritted her teeth, redirecting her blade toward the weakened Tamzai, then I'll kill her first. Tamzai worried the drug still lingered. She might not dodge in time. Seeing Taiyu charge, Yili panicked, shouted stop, and threw himself in front of Tamzai. Taiyu's sword pierced straight into Yili's chest. Blood dripped down the blade. Tamzai screamed in horror. Your Majesty. Yili just smiled gently. You're not hurt, right? Secretly thinking, damn, in the most handsome hero alive. Taiyu screamed madly. You think this is a joke? I'll send you both to hell today. From afar, Xian arrived, shouting, protect His Majesty, quickly. Yili stomped hard, dust exploding skyward with fierce might. The dust hit Taiyu's face. She clutched her eyes, screaming, my eyes! Damn Emperor! Yili lowered his sword coldly. You touch my woman, you know the price. Turning his back, he declared, this is your punishment. Xia Yang stood frozen in awe, while Tamzai gazed at him, deeply moved. Just then, a guard ran in. Your Majesty, Chun leads the Golden Guards, is here to rescue his daughter. Yili sneered, rescue her, thinks is some celestial immortal. Tamzai tugged his sleeve softly. Your Majesty, now's not the time to clash. Keeping Taiyu alive is more useful. From afar, Chun's troops arrived, growling, Your Majesty, what's going on here? Seeing his daughter pinned under Yili's boot, Chun turned purple with rage, fists clenched. My daughter. Taiyu burst into tears, crying, Father, save me, please. Chun roared, everyone stand down. I'll see who dares touch my daughter. Your Majesty, explain yourself. Taiyu kept wailing, Father, help me. Yili lifted his sword calmly, replying, an explanation. Here it is. He plunged the blade through Taiyu's back. Blood sprayed as she collapsed, eyes wide in disbelief. Later, at Tingfeng Tower, Tamzai gently bandaged Yili's wound. Lounging comfortably, he asked softly, Tamzai, are you feeling better? Still hurt anywhere? Secretly melting over her soft hands, she smiled faintly. Thanks to Your Majesty, I'm fine now. Yili nodded. Good, though honestly, killing Chun's daughter in front of him and he didn't even rage, that's annoying. Back then, Chun trembled with fury but forced calm, excusing himself from court. Afterward, Tamzai asked if His Majesty planned at Yili's side. It was all a move to justify eliminating Chun. She blamed herself for the mishap but felt warmth her first time being protected. At that moment, Yili brushed her cheek, full of naughty thoughts, wondering how far he'd get tonight. Suddenly, Tamzai smacked him hard, warning him to behave, leaving Yili rubbing his head in mock misery. Yet he begged for her to finish bandaging, flustering her until she muttered, fine, you mean no harm anyway. Instantly, Yili burst out laughing with glee, proudly calling her my dear wife. That weird laughter echoed out, making the guards outside sigh. His Majesty really is something else. As Tamzai finished bandaging, she turned to leave, while Yili grimaced behind her, lamenting that official business was left unfinished. Hearing those words, she froze, turned back with icy eyes, and asked through clenched teeth what business exactly. Feeling her aura, Yili stiffened, sweat trickling down his neck. He scrambled. I meant the eunuch at Yanju Palace is a spy planted by Chun. He added that without the earlier chaos, those spies would still be hiding in the shadows. He asserted Taeyo's escape had inside help and vowed to interrogate spies to trace the next lead. Thus Tamzai insisted on joining, secretly admiring his growing imperial bearing. Worse, Yili leaned close smugly, thinking his heroic charm surely captivated her. Just then, Xia Yang rushed in, reporting the spy confessed all orders came from Lord Nu, a mysterious figure with a distinct scent. To Tamzai judged the clue too vague. Tae-chun must have hidden this Lord Nu well even after the palace purge. Unexpectedly, Yili stayed calm, saying even if Lord Nu was found, pinning blame on Tae-chun would still be hard. He placed a hand on her shoulder, explaining their current power was too weak. Any rash move might provoke Tae-chun's counterattack. Yili then ordered Xia Yang to investigate traitors among the Golden Guards. Anyone tied to Tae-chun must be eliminated. Fury burned inside him as he cursed the disloyal. Those who ate imperial grace yet dared betray it must all perish. After that serious talk, he teased Tamzai to rest and joked about giving her a goodnight kiss, making her blush and fume. Suddenly, the scene shifted to Tamzai was soaking in water, calling his majesty to come spoil her, lost between dream and desire. Still half asleep, Yili was awakened, growling at the noise. A eunuch stammered that all officials awaited him in court. He asked if Tae-chun was present. He was healthy and waiting. Yili smirked, saying, "Let him wait," taking his time to make the old man sweat. Meanwhile, in the Golden Throne Hall, the ministers grew restless, murmurs rising everywhere. One senior official angrily scolded eunuch Fusho for not reminding the emperor, but Fusho coolly replied, "Since when must we announce his majesty's timing to you?" The remark stirred uproar. Many whispered that if word spread, the empire would mock their lazy emperor. Enraged, the official grabbed Fusho's collar, shouting that a filthy eunuch dared defy a minister. At that moment, Yili's cold voice echoed from the doorway, "Who permitted fighting inside the Golden Hall?" Seeing the emperor, Fusho dropped to his knees, trembling yet joyfully crying endless praises. Yili smirked, mocking, "Well, don't just stand there, hit him. Show me your power." Fusho even leaned forward, offering his face. The official trembled with rage but couldn't strike. Choking on his words, Yili squinted, tone dripping with mockery. "What's wrong? Lost your courage already?" And the hall fell tense as a drawn bowstring. The frightened official dropped to his knees, trembling and begging for mercy, his voice fading in fear. Yili asked indifferently, "You're Tai King's disciple, aren't you? Then, Tai King, what's your opinion?" Tae-chun calmly shifted the topic, reporting a border crisis. Tuji had sent an ultimatum demanding marriage or territory, throwing the court into panic. He feigned concern for the people while secretly gloating, eager to see the young emperor cornered. Yili roared, cursing the cowards who'd trade women for peace, questioning whether they served the nation or just feared death. Tae-chun, unfazed, politely countered, "Then, your majesty, what will you do if not marry for peace?" And the ministers echoed him. Yili chuckled inwardly just as had predicted. The old fox took the bait. He declared firmly that within 2 months he'd resolve it: no marriage, no tribute, and still keep Tuju from crossing the border. The court erupted. Someone blurted, "Your majesty, are you serious? Isn't that madness?" Yili ignored them, stepping slowly down the dais toward Tae-chun, his gaze icy. Standing before him, Yili asked softly, "What's wrong, Minister Tae? You don't trust me?" Tae-chun bowed, saying the court doubted it, then asked what would happen if Yili truly succeeded. Yili smiled. "If I win, what will you do?" Tae-chun replied without hesitation, "I'll resign, but if you fail, who takes responsibility?" Yili answered coolly, "I'll abdicate." The hall exploded and Xia Yang rushed forward to plead with the emperor to reconsider. Only Tamzai remained silent, realizing Yili had deliberately trapped Tae-chun, though it also endangered himself. Yili swept his gaze across the hall, declaring coldly, "For the next 2 months, anyone who mentions abdication or marriage will face my wrath." Inside, fury blazed. He swore Tae-chun would taste defeat. Tae-chun quickly agreed, proclaiming the entire court as witnesses and forbidding anyone from backing out. Yili ended it with a grin, "Whoever changes their word dies unrested." Tae-chun bowed politely and left, speaking calmly but plotting vengeance and the emperor's downfall. Yili clenched his fists since fate brought him to this era, had played to the end and never let them ruin the realm. Just then, Fusho rushed in, reporting Tuji had attacked the border, raiding and capturing civilians. Yili shouted furiously, "Bastards! How dare they bully my people!" and dismissed the court. Afterward, he met with Tamzai and Xia Yang, deciding they needed funds for war, ordering Xia Yang to audit the treasury and Tamzai to accompany him to meet Entirely. Arriving at the brothel, Tamzai explained it was Entily's usual haunt. Yili looked up casually, "Just another pleasure house. I've seen plenty." Suddenly, a shout accused Entirely of unpaid debts and mockery. Turning, Yili was startled. It was the very man he sought. As the thugs moved to attack, Entirely cursed them back arrogantly. Yili barked, "Stop. No fighting." He stepped forward, handed gold to the leader, and said calmly, "I'll pay his debt. Will that do?" Seeing gold, the man grinned and left with his crew, fawning. Once the thugs left, Yili bent down to lift Entirely, calling his name softly several times. But Entirely dead drunk, mumbled that the world had no place for him. Hearing that, Yila's eyes lit up. He replied slyly, then pluck the stars and change your fate. How about it? Making entirely jolt awake. He sprang up, grabbed Yila's hand, and laughed heartily. A soulmate. Finally someone who understands me. Ha ha! Yili invited him to enter the palace, but Entylee's face darkened. He scoffed. Nope, the current emperor is a fool who's ruining this land. Tossing his hair, he sneered. Who dream of catching stars would never bow to such a weak ruler. Yili calmly replied, Brother, and you don't know yet things have changed. The imperial consort is dead. Loyalists return. The tides are turning. Still, Entylee shook his head coldly. That once saved this rotten nation, Tuju still raids freely. Even a new emperor is too late. He laughed bitterly. Just wait, Tuju will ride into our capital and take all our beauties. Yili secretly grinned, thinking, a true kindred spirit. Every word hits home. He hurried after, grabbing Entylee's hand and pleading, wait, hear me out. But Entylee wept drunkenly. Say what you want, I won't listen. Yili lowered his voice. I only wish to meet the emperor to protect our women from invaders. The words stunned Entylee. You're not like others. Fine, I'll give you a chance. With a sly grin, he added, I want to free Miss Yanru from Fengshan House, but in broke, help me, and I'll see the emperor. Yili cursed inwardly, hopeless skirchusser. Still, he forced a polite smile and nodded, deal. Entylee beamed, clutching his hand. Ha! Finally someone who understands me. Soon, they entered Fengshan House, its lavish room glittering with luxury. Yili thought the owner truly knew how to live. Every detail screamed wealth and power. As he looked around, a soft but cold female voice said, I heard you spent quite a bit of gold to find me. Yili turned calmly. Indeed. And how should I address you? She smiled. Call me Maiden Huyen. Yili raised a brow. Huyen, a rare surname. I'll be direct. I want to ransom someone. Huyen replied flatly, impossible. At Fengshan House, redemption is forbidden. Yili kept his polite tone. Release her, and name your price. She smirked. In this city, power rules. I doubt you can afford it. He grinned confidently. Try me. As they spoke, Yili peeked through the thin curtain, sighing inwardly. Damn, not seeing her face feels like a tragedy. Madame Huyen sipped tea leisurely. Since you're sincere, I'll give you one chance. Save someone imprisoned, and shiz yours, fair trade. Yili narrowed his eyes, tone firm. Rescue someone caught by officials. If they're not vile, I'll help. Huyen eyed him warily. And why should I trust you? What if you betray me to the authorities? Yili stiffened inside. Crap. She's really suspicious now. He spun around in mock outrage, booming. Me, I'm a man of honor. Believe me or not, I'll keep my word whether you hand her over or not. Yili smirked faintly. Let's see who conquers whom this time. As he turned to leave, Madame Huyen called out urgently. Wait. Hearing that, Yili turned back, smug smile blooming clearly. Victor was his, he asked leisurely. Well, thought it through. Madame Huyen laughed, clapping lightly. Fine. Seems I've judged a gentleman by petty standards. She continued, the person I need you to save is a prisoner at the clan office named Shang-Shi. Yili replied firmly, if he's wrongfully jailed, I'll free him within 2 days. Secretly intrigue anyone in prison there must have royal ties. He added, but I want Miss Yan and I ransom now, that's important to me. Huyen nodded. Agreed. A considerate allies go to the accounts room. I'll send someone. A delicate feather appeared in Yili's hand. He smiled softly. Interesting. My thanks till fate brings us together again. After he left, Huyen sat quietly, eyes distant. That gaze doesn't lie, has no ordinary man, she murmured. Later, Yili brought Yan Nai to Entylee. The woman you wanted, I've brought her. Be at the palace by dawn, I have more to do. Entylee froze, voice trembling. Yan Nai truly freed. You're not afraid I'll run. Yili grinned. You're an honorable man. Not a rat, he added calmly. A gentleman's word is iron. Entylee laughed, punching Yili's fist lightly. A promise worth 1,000 gold. Yili smiled. I'm off, leaving Entylee terrified, shouting, good brother, I owe you my life. On the way back, Yili told Tamzai, once he enters the palace, I'll control him, then the Tuju problem will open a path. I'll handle Shang-Shi tonight. He turned with a sly grin. Wife, after such toil, no reward for me. Moments later, in the study, Yili rested his head onto Tamja's lap, looking utterly content. He sighed softly. Pity it's not quite what I wanted. His mind filled with the image of Tamzai in thin silk, breathtakingly beautiful. Smiling, he murmured, my wife's so serious, I can't read her at all. Then he tilted his head, asking gently, your family, anyone left? You never mention them. She turned away coldly. Why should you care? Yili spoke softly. I just want to look after you. Nothing more. She exhaled faintly. No need. I've always been quiet, it's how I am. Yili chuckled. Wrong, you do have family. Narrowing his eyes playfully, he added, your family is me, your fiancé. Closest of all, Tamzai blinked, repeating softly, family. Yili seized the moment, leaning closer, his breath quickened, mind screaming, the chance is now. But just as their lips neared, the door burst open. Xiaoyang stormed in, dragging a bound man. Your Majesty, we've brought Shang-Shi. Yili puckered midair. Tamzai neatly dodged, While Xia Yang froze, unsure whether to turn away or faint, Yili glared furiously. Who let you in at this moment? Still fuming, he smacked Xia Yang's head. The man chuckled nervously, reporting that Xingxi was jailed for attempted assassinate. Deputy Commander Yang Chun to Chun's ally. Yili clenched his jaw, asking, "You're Xingxi, the one who tried to kill Yang Chun?" "Correct," Xingxi sneered. "Yeah, and what of it? That bastard deserved it. And you, useless emperor, you're the same. Both deserve death." Dai Li spoke sternly. Hu Dianlo Ban said you were wronged. So tell me, why did Yang Xuan deserve to die? He continued, "Speak truthfully. And tonight I'll free you from the clan hall." Hearing Hu Dian's name, Xing Qiai froze. "You know her?" Dai Li cut to the chase. "Want to live? Cooperate. Give proof, and he'll grant you a chance." Xing Qiai gritted his teeth, stomped hard, his face set with grim resolve. "Fine. Ill talk." Yang Xuan abused power, took girls by force, killed families to silence them, and colluded with the prime minister. I kill him to rid the people of a pest. Dai Li clenched his jaw. Such filth in the imperial city. If I don't kill him, am unfit to rule. Inwardly he grumbled, I transmigrated here and haven't touched anyone. Yet that scoundrel ran wilder than me. He asked coolly, got proof. Shinki shot back. Find Sanda at the casino, he knows everything. Yang Xuan shows up monthly, tosses gold around, then raises hell. Hearing that, Dai Li ordered, a Yang, go, pardon him, gather troops at the palace gate. Tonight, arrest Yang Xuan. Sinze, with me. As night fell and the capital gleamed, Dai Li gazed at the prosperity, musing, with taxes like this, the treasury should overflow. Why the deficit? Suxin Zai replied calmly, the finance ministry runs deep. Your Majesty, take time, don't rush. Dai Li nodded. First deal with Yang Xuan, reclaim the Golden Guard. Has Taichun's man strike fast, like with Taiyu? No warning, then sighed. Being emperor is a full-time headache. Suddenly, Suxin Zai leaned close, startling Dai Li. Madam, she pressed him against the wall, his face flushing, stammering awe, but she silenced him with a cold gesture. Outside, a man's voice sounded. General Yang, about that shipment. We trust you completely. Another voice replied, no problem. The sample's safe, no one suspects a thing. Dai Li and Suxin Zai peeked out, spotting the shady deal. He whispered, follow him, our main act begins. Just then, a carriage rattled by. The driver shouted for the road to clear. Yang Xuan paused, sniffing the sweet scent wafting from the carriage. He licked his lips. Wickley must be a lovely lady inside. Just my luck. And once he adjusted his pants, blocked the path, and smirked. And who might be waiting in there? Inside. Xiao Jianni felt the carriage stop, peeked out, and asked the driver why they halted. He sneered, nothing. Miss just thought we'd share a spring night together. Furious, Jianni shouted, in Princess Nanyang, how dare you act so vile in the capital? Yang Xuan laughed darkly. Princess or not, I've dared worse, even the Empress. Elder Cheng yelled in panic, unhand her, but he was kicked aside instantly. Xiao Jianni screamed in terror for help. Yang Xuan gripped her tight, grinning fully. The louder you scream, the more fun for me. Suddenly, a fierce punch smashed his eye, sending him sprawling. He clutched his face, roaring, who dares hit me? I'll wipe out your whole clan. The attacker Dai Li stepped forward coldly. If you can't kill me tonight, it's your death instead. Xiao Jianni burst into tears, crying, Brother Emperor. Leaving Yang Xuan dumbstruck, Dai Li held the trembling girl gently, secretly smirking. So, transmigrating was to rescue beauties after all. Yang Xuan trembled, kneeling and begging for mercy, claiming he had an old mother to care for. Dai Li coldly crushed his head underfoot. Filial or not, I'll give you one night more, your life still forfeit. He asked, that Lu Hang from the casino, what kind of man is he? Yang Xuan blurted, he smuggles weapons and treasures. Tomorrow night at Zi Hour, hell move goods to Gong Xai. But before finishing, an arrow pierced his chest from afar. Dead on the spot, Yang drew his sword to guard, shouting, protect his majesty, while Yang Xuan gasped his last mother. Dai Li looked on with faint pity, then ordered Yang to arrange his mother's funeral before enforcing the law. He raised his eyes coldly. Taichun planned well, killing him right after the confession. Dai Li clenched his fist this time. He swore to uproot Taichun completely. He then stroked Jian's hair, softly asking why she was out so late. She murmured, just stopped by a temple to give thanks. Dai Li sternly warned, next time, take guards if danger strikes again. You can't handle it alone. Jianni looked at him strangely, making Dai Li ask, why that look at your emperor? She whispered, it all feels like a dream, reminds me of childhood days. Then she lowered her head, fearing tomorrow had turned cold again. Dai Li chuckled, flicking her forehead. Stop overthinking. I'll still protect you, as promised. He said it was late and offered to escort her home. Jianni nodded happily, heart fluttering. Just then, a shout rang out, who dares act improper toward the princess? Seize him. Jianni rushed to shield Dai Li. No, this is my emperor brother. The man froze mid-swing, eyes flickering with confusion and shock. Realizing his grave mistake, he knelt. Dai Li helped him up calmly, saying it was fine, though relief washed over him inside. Seeing the man's aura, Dai Li thought, this might be the talent I've been seeking. But the man suddenly asked suspiciously, does your majesty truly not remember me? Dai Li stiffened, catching the deep resentment hidden in that gaze. Yang tugged his sleeve, introducing, "This is Li Zinheap, once the right hand of the late general, now demoted." Suxin Zai cut in, explaining Li Zinheap had opposed Tai Chun while the former emperor supported him, making Dai Li silently fume. Jan Ni laughed lightly. "Uncle Li must have come out worried since I returned late." Dai Li smiled. "Of course I remember. Li Zinheap, we'll talk next time now. Escort the princess home." He watched them fade into the distance. Feeling bitter the old fool really wasted fine talent, turning to Suxin Zai, he vowed, "I'll reclaim all loyal men. Tai Chun can stop me." The next morning by the fish pond, Dai Li fished leisurely while cursing the treacherous Tai Chun under his breath. He gritted his teeth that snake kills to silence, yet pretends to investigate. "Think I don't see your schemes?" Still, Dai Li had reclaimed all Golden Guard authority. Only a trustworthy man was needed to balance power. Just then, the fishing rod jerked hard. He brightened, eager for a catch, but it turned out to be a drifting weed. He cursed. "Even ancient soldiers pull airstrikes." Huh! At that moment, Xiao Jianai approached with a box, beaming, "Brother Emperor," and an idea sparked in Dai Li's mind. She said she brought a handmade gift to thank her savior, hoping His Majesty wouldn't mind. Dai Li opened the box. Catching a burnt stench inside was a black, unidentifiable lump. Forcing a smile, he said, "Ah, fish food. Perfect timing, this'll surely bring a catch." Jan Nai tilted her head. "What's Air Force?" Dai Li dodged, quickly tossing the food into the pond. Moments later, the fish floated belly up, lifeless on the surface. Dai Li's face paled. "Poison," he thought, while Jan Nai sadly asked, "Don't you like my cooking, Brother Emperor?" Cornered, he trembled, picked up a piece, forcing a laugh. "How could I refuse? Of course, I'll eat." One bite in, his body went numb, but he still smiled, praising its flavor and her skill. Jaina beamed, "Want to cook more often?" Dai Li nearly wept. "I dug my own grave." He quickly changed the topic, praising her timing. He actually needed her help. He explained he planned to reform the Golden Guard, seeking loyal, capable people from the Xiao clan. Without hesitation, Jen Ni grabbed his hand to lead him off, making Dai Li panic. He hated using her feelings like this. She stopped, gazing at him with trust and hurt mingled in her eyes. "Softly," she said, "if you truly mean it, please help my father's former men. They've suffered enough." Dai Li helped her up solemnly. "I'll restore the great general's post and honor the worthy." Jan Nai tearfully hugged him, leaving Dai Li touched yet flustered by her warm embrace. Just then, Suxin Zai's cold voice rang out, "Your Majesty, what are you doing with the princess?" Dai Li spun around, caught in her icy stare, heart tangled in panic. Jan Nai still clung to him innocently, just bonding with Brother Emperor. Before Dai Li could explain, Suxin Zai cut in, "Princess, address him as Your Majesty." Suddenly, an angry shout came from behind, startling all three. It was Tet Leet, face red, grabbing Dai Li's shoulder. "How many sisters do you have?" "Huh!" Dai Li groaned inwardly. "Wrong question, man." Suxin Zai interjected, "Your Majesty, this morning I had the Dung Suan shipment watched and met Tet Lit at the gate, so I brought him in." And Tet Light lifted his chin proudly. "I came to keep my word. Even if you're Emperor, I trust my own judgment. But you didn't summon me just for a job offer, did you?" Dai Li nodded. "Straight to business, correct? I need you for a covert mission into Doju, to bribe the left-wise king and buy time to topple Tai Chun." And Tet Leet grinned. The Doju court's already divided. Brilliant move. Dai Li smiled. "Knew I wasn't wrong about you. Come, let's plan this properly." The two sat down, spreading maps, strategizing under tense silence. Meanwhile, Jan Ni chuckled. "Looks like Brother Emperor's busy. I'll head home first." "Tozi." Suxin Zai paused, replying softly, "I'm not much older than you, just call me Xin Zai." Then she glanced toward Dai Li, murmuring, "His Majesty truly has changed. Let's both help him strengthen great way." Jan Ni nodded playfully. "Of course, I'll always help Brother Emperor." "Bye, Tozi." Meanwhile, the talk between Dai Li and Tat Lai had heated up and raised a hand. 100,000 taels. Dai Li gawked, showing 5 fingers. 50,000, and arched a brow. 200,000. Dai Li choked. "Wait, what kind of bargaining is this?" And calmly replied, "It's the left-wise king. We need heavy gold to sway him." "Don't worry, I'll make it worth it." Dai Li could only sigh. Finally, he gave it. "Fine, 30,000, and get out before I change my mind." And laughed, bowing low. "From today, I'll follow you. I believe Your Majesty will bring great way to glory." Dai Li replied boldly, "While sun and moon still shine, the empire shall endure. Go with honor." As and left, Dai Li turned to Suxin Zai with a flattering tone. "Xin Zai, how much is left in my little treasury?" Suxin Zai answered coolly, "Less than 100,000. Dai Li froze. "What? Less than 100,000? Check every Dengexun transaction immediately." Soon after, in the great prison, a filthy-faced official knelt and wept. "Mercy, Your Majesty. Dexuan forced me." Dai Li folded his arms coldly. "Why you, not others? Speak truthfully." When the man stammered, Dai Li snapped, "Whipping him talk, or surrender all assets, or serve as my spy." The man broke down. "I'll do it. He'll tell all." After hearing the confession, Dai Li handed the whip to an eunuch. "Spare his life, but not his skin." 20 lashes. The eunuch bowed, thinking, His Majesty's tastes are unique. Suksan Zai frowned. Your Majesty, using criminals as spies among smugglers, is that wise? Dali replied evenly, Haji knows the underworld, is more effective than any court man. That world has its own rules, save your worry for greater things. Still unconvinced, Su asked, why complicate it? The treasury has funds, the Imperial Guard has men, no need for tricks. Dali explained, touch the treasury and Taichun will notice the guard can't appear at river docks. And Tatlai, it's off to Doju. What I need now are escorts. For that, we go to Feng Chen-Lu. At Feng Chen-Lu, same old scene. Dai Li and Sugzai sat across from Hu Dian, the madam behind a curtain. She smiled. Thanks, young master, for helping Shen Qi. Dai Li replied, I've helped plenty, yet your true face stays hidden. Seems I misjudged you. Hu Dian blinked. Misjudged? What? Dai Li peeked through the curtain gap. Yes. It's the same woman I saw before. Suksan Zai sighed inwardly. His Majesty still can't drop that nosy habit. Dai Li smirked. Mistake born from misplaced affection. Hu Dian chuckled. Young master has a way with words. She added. For Shenki's debt, I owe you. If it's within my power, it'll help. Dai Li went straight to the point. I need a trusted, skilled team to protect an important figure. Know anyone fit? Hu Dian frowned slightly. That important one, is it in Tat Liat? Dai Li nodded, making Suksan tense behind him. Hu Dian smiled. You're honest with me, that means trust. Rest assured, it'll deliver. In 2 days, my people will come. Dai Li rose. Good. Tomorrow at hour, meet at the Chengwang Temple outside West City. Farewell. Wait, Hu Dian called out. Young master, are you by any chance surnamed Dai? Suksan Zai tensed, but Dai Li just smiled. When I see your true face, he'll tell you, tomorrow. Then, leaving the building, Suksan Zai murmured, Your Majesty, that woman's no ordinary one. Asking your surname so boldly means she knows who you are. Dai Li replied calmly, no harm done. Shen Qi likely mentioned I met the emperor once. She's only guessing. Despite her worry, he brushed it off with a grin. Before she could retort, Dai Li pulled out a hairpin, teasing, beauty of jade, mine sharp as a blade, truly admirable. As he placed the pin in her hair, Suksan Zai's heart raced, cheeks flushed. She turned away, muttering, You. Dai Li, unfazed, cheerfully pointed around. Take this, and that. Oh, one for Jinai too. Watching his boyish excitement, Suksan Zai stood speechless, half amused, half exasperated. He then handed her the bundle with a grin. Let's go. Time to see if Zini convinced Li Zinip yet. Suksan Zai drew a deep breath, regaining her calm, and answered softly, Very well. At the Zhou mansion, Dai Li called loudly, Zinai. Xiao Jianai ran out beaming. Brother Emperor, to D, you both came to visit. Dai Li scratched his head awkwardly, but before he could speak, Suksan Zai snapped, Silence. I told you not to call me that. Just then, Li Zinip emerged with 2 others, all kneeling together. Long live His Majesty. 10,000 years. Li Zinip observed quietly. He must be here to recruit me into the Golden Guard. The princess says has changed, but can a man truly change? Dai Li laughed. Ha! Rise. I only came to visit the Princess of Nanyang. No need for formality. The subordinates gawked. The emperor visiting? Even Li Zinip faltered, uncertain whether to trust it. He said lightly, Then I'll excuse myself, so as not to intrude. Dai Li blinked, puzzled. Why's everyone acting so weird? Wait, Jan Nai tugged Li Zinip's sleeve. Uncle Li, you haven't answered. Will you accept the great general post of the Golden Guard? His Majesty's right here. Dai Li froze. This little princess too pure or too blunt? He thought. Now that's awkward. He said gently, Zinai, we're not discussing ranks today, but I promise the loyal men of House Zhao will all be restored. None forgotten. Li Zinip widened his eyes. He said please twice already. Perhaps he truly has changed. His 2 aides teared up, remembering how the old emperor once forced him into service by humiliation. Now, the same throne spoke with warmth. They exchanged glances and nodded, their faith quietly rekindled. One whispered, Brother Li, His Majesty's different indeed, but Taichun's power runs deep. The road ahead is perilous. If only the late commander still lived, would he stand behind the throne again? Li Zinip fell silent, then said gravely, I understand. Meanwhile, Xiao Jin clasped Dai Li's hand, smiling brightly. Brother Emperor, come, let's stroll the market. To Deacon rest here. Suddenly, Li Zinip dropped to his knees. Your Majesty, please wait. I have a petition, he declared firmly. I recommend Wu Huang, once of the Zhao army, to serve as great general of the Golden Guard. My comrades and I shall devote ourselves wholly to your Majesty's cause. Dai Li nodded shortly. Fine. Have him enter the palace tomorrow morning with a full plan. Though still unsure what was going on, he figured agreeing first was safest. Li Zinip and his men hugged, tears streaming. His Majesty said please 3 times. Well, follow him for life. As Xiao Jianai tugged Dai Li away, he glanced back at the tearful trio. Should we leave them like that? She smiled. It's fine, Brother Emperor. Let's go. Inwardly, she sighed dreamily. Brother Emperor really outshines the heavens. Later, swinging gently on a swing, Jan Nai spoke softly as Dai Li admired the vast courtyard. You live here often. It's huge, she replied sadly. Huge? Yes, but empty. Visitors are rare and mostly alone. Her voice trembled into quiet sobs, making Dai Li turn, concern filling his gaze. Brother Emperor, my handkerchief fell. Can you pick it up? She murmured, eyes red. Dai hesitated, then nodded. All right. He picked it up, reading the stitched poem aloud. Flowers bloom and fade. Gazing northward, where is my beloved? He asked. You wrote this? Blushing, she stammered. It was meant for brother emperor. You found out. Dai chuckled, thinking, didn't expect her to be this adorable. Suddenly, he wrapped an arm around her shoulders, teasing by her ear. If you like your brother emperor so much, shall I bring you into the palace? Jenny flushed bright red, mumbling that might not be entirely inappropriate. Dai laughed, pinching her cheek. Just kidding. Why so shy? She pouted softly. Brother emperor, you're so mean. Meanwhile, in the palace, a sneaky official crept through the corridor, eyes darting like a thief's. He stopped by a tree, picking up a scrap of paper from the ground. On it were scrawled words: the emperor has left the palace, strike now. Outside the city, Dai sat fishing again, grumbling. Still nothing. Jen sighed inwardly. Brother emperor's obsession with fishing is truly dull. After a while, Dai set the rod down. It's getting dark. I must go beyond the city. Jenny worried. It's dangerous outside. Shall I call Uncle Lee? He shook his head, eyes glinting. No need. Danger's exactly what I seek. I just devised the perfect trap. I'll disguise myself as a commoner outside the city to lure the assassins out. When they strike, I'll feign injury, then use my words to turn them to my side. He praised himself for his genius, though deep down, he knew it was reckless and half-baked. Jenny smiled, cheering him on, utterly convinced her brother emperor would triumph. Brimming with pride, elsewhere, an escort team reported they'd received orders to deliver young master and safely to Doju. Dai commanded sternly, this mission must stay secret, return safely, and rewards await. As the carriages vanished, he exhaled deeply, eyes gleaming. Time to act myself. Suddenly, a figure lunged, blade flashing in a shout. Dai. Emperor. Dai faced it calmly. As the blade neared, he collapsed dramatically, pretending to be struck, stunning his attacker. Lying on the ground, he groaned and clutched his side, both acting and probing for the assailant's identity. Inside, he congratulated himself on his Oscar-worthy performance, while the assassin hesitated, unsure if the hit was real. At last, the attacker removed his mask, revealing Le King, lover Taeyu, eyes blazing with vengeance. Dai kept up his dying act but secretly glanced over, pleased that everything was unfolding as planned. Le King raised his sword in fury, roaring about avenging Yu's death and making Dai taste retribution. Just then, Dai slowly stood, dusted himself off, and signaled his hidden allies to appear, yet the forest stayed eerily silent, leaving Le King frowning in confusion. Dai clapped again, the echo ringing through the woods like a desperate cue. Still no one came. Le King charged in rage, while Dai ran for his life, cursing his perfect plan. Meanwhile, elsewhere in the forest, Suxinzai wandered aimlessly, lost once more due to her chronic sense of direction curse. When Le King screamed after scratching his arm on a branch, Dai brightened. Sinzai's here? But no, the newcomer was a reed-haired woman who declared coldly, this one I protect. Looking closer, Dai realized it was Hudain the madam, but he feigned ignorance to gauge her intent. He squinted and asked slyly, while she replied softly, you guess, her tone teasing and mysterious. Clearly, this woman could rival anyone in disguise and emotional control. Then Le King howled and swung his blade as dozens of assassins burst from the trees, shouting to destroy the royal loyalists. Hudain merely swept her gaze across them and uttered one word: idiots. Suddenly, a thunderous voice roared, insolence. A wave of sword light tore through the leaves. Suxinzai had arrived, blade gleaming. Seeing her, Dai shouted with relief, while Hudain quietly acknowledged, so this is the famed number one under heaven. Suxinzai knelt on one knee, apologizing for getting lost. Dai laughed, waving it off. You came just in time. He turned to thank Hudain, but she replied coolly, I merely lent a hand to the weak, didn't expect it'd be the emperor. Dai nearly burst out laughing. Nice lie. Who'd believe that? He thought. Without pressing, he pulled out a jade token. Take this. If trouble comes, present it in the palace. I'll see you protected. Hudain froze, recognizing the golden dragon or the empire's highest symbol of power. She bowed in gratitude and left Dai watch her go, calculating that keeping ties with her was wiser than not. Then his eyes hardened toward Le King, trembling on the ground now for questioning. Le King panicked, voice shaking, clueless about what awaited him. Soon, his screams echoed through the silent forest. Through the pain, he cursed even in death. He'll never talk. As a ghost, he'll still haunt the emperor. Dai frowned slightly. Stubborn fool. I'll give him that, he told Suxinzai. Bind him and throw him into the pitch-black dungeon. Let's see how long he lasts. She worried he might truly know nothing. Dai nodded. If he won't confess, I'll eliminate everyone who knew I left the palace. Finishing, he glanced toward the corner and called out, fuck show. Making the man freeze in terror, the servant dropped to his knees, clutching Dai's leg, sobbing vows of loyalty. Dai only sighed. He asked, has anyone suspicious approached you lately, seeking news of me? Fuck the replied that Lady Tuoxin came asking to meet, but he told her to return tomorrow since his majesty was out. Hearing that name, Deeply frowned, feeling it familiar yet couldn't recall who it was. He muttered that Lady Tuoxin sound about 30, with a vague image flashing in his mind. Then, Tuoxin's eye reminded him she was the late emperor's sworn sister, once an imperial censor executed for treason, now a recluse with deep resentment. Deeply instantly decided to meet Lady Tuoxin in person, no exceptions, curiosity burning bright. Meanwhile, Kimping Ju was eerily silent, like forgotten in mist. Deeply kicked the door open, calling out Lady Tuoxin's name with imperial authority. She gasped, wide-eyed, stammering leer. He coldly corrected, "Address me as your majesty." She apologized softly yet intimately, and Deeply noted her youthfulness while she cursed the troublesome emperor inside. Deeply realized her words were Trap's classic manipulative green tea tactics. He calmly replied, firm but gentle, saying he came in person so she should stop acting hurt. She feigned emotion in return. Suddenly Lady Tuoxin trembled, pretended to faint, whispering sweet nonsense while scheming inside. Deeply caught her but quickly released. Voice sharp, "You betrayed me for Tae-chun. He can't save you." She fell hard, blushing with a strange sound, making Deeply momentarily doubt his own ears. She wept for mercy while secretly cursing, confused by an odd sensation rising within. Deeply grabbed her wrist coldly. Hearing another soft moan that deepened his suspicion, Lady Tuoxin flushed, half covering her face as numbness spread. Deeply smirked. Realizing her secret, he held her tighter. Warning in a regal tone, she threatened back, using royal kinship to force his hand. Deeply leaned closer, low and threatening, demanding truth. She remained defiant. Ready to die, he tightened his grip, smiling coldly, challenging her endurance. Suddenly he slapped her rear boldly, freezing the air. Lady Tuoxin blushed scarlet, crying out in anger and shame. Shocked he dared, Deeply only grew more intrigued, sliding closer with teasing threats that made her tremble in fury. But Lady Tuoxin countered swiftly, shoving him down. Deeply laughed, praising her skill mockingly. Rising, he stared intently, complimenting her body and speed. She realized too late she had fallen into his trap. Lady Tuoxin clenched her fists, vowing to drag him to death with her, eyes blazing. Then she tore off her outer robe, launching a desperate move to frame him with a reversible scandal. Yet Deeply only smirked coldly, calling her stunt a useless farce. As he stepped closer, Lady Tuoxin panicked, retreating under his overwhelming aura. Deeply warned with a faint grin that for someone new to pain, this game might be too much. At once, Lady Tuoxin's body went limp, collapsing weakly to the ground. She trembled harder, breath uneven, face flushed, a single word knife flashing in her mind. Panic struck, she couldn't comprehend what was happening to her body. Deeply laughed mockingly, asking bitterly if Lady's slave couldn't handle it anymore. Despite trembling, she shouted back, and Deeply replied coldly that if it wasn't enough, he'd make sure she broke. He gritted out her crimes, freeing Tae-yu, framing Tuoxin-ze, even plotting his death. She burst into mad laughter, admitting all, claiming he was the one who ruined her Fian and family. Hearing that, Deeply's face darkened. He barked that she was a fool, manipulated by a corrupt clan. But Lady Tuoxin stood firm, accusing him of slander and citing the Jade Seal as proof. Enraged, Deeply struck her rear hard, voice icy, asking who truly gained and who was the killer. She wept speechless. He jabbed a finger to her forehead, mocking if she dared threaten him. She retorted that insulting an elder was true disgrace. Deeply pinned her down, whispering with a crooked grin, "So you do fear after all." Lady Tuoxin steadied herself, offering to reopen the case for the real culprit in exchange for silence and intel. Deeply brushed it off coldly, demanding the list immediately and ordering her to explain to Tuoxin-ze, reminding her who was begging. Suddenly she noticed his eyes colder, like he'd become someone else entirely. After a long silence, she gritted her teeth and reluctantly agreed. Then she softly asked when the case would reopen, only for Deeply to sneer, calling her unbelievably naive. He warned that reopening it would expose her betrayal to Tae-chun. She'd be the first to die. Lady Tuoxin lowered her head, voice gentler, admitting she wrongly accused him out of vengeance. Deeply roared that she'd been used all along without realizing it. He ordered her to hand over the list of underground groups and keep acting her part. Spreading false news, she fumed at being his pawn. Yet Deeply didn't bother explaining, merely smirked. "Believe what you will." Lady Tuoxin placed the notebook down, warning that if he betrayed her, he'd share her fate. Deeply snatched it coldly, replying flatly, "Noted," before turning away. Suddenly, he slapped her rear again. She yelped, and he muttered, "Mind your attitude." Finally, he told her to keep things steady. Had apologized to Zay later when time was right. But as he stepped out, Deeply froze. Tuoxin-ze stood right at the doorway. He stammered, "Darling, how long have you been standing there?" Tuoxin-ze calmly said she'd been there all along, just stepped aside not to intrude, leaving Deeply speechless. She turned away, coolly reporting that Wuhan had become Grand General and would fulfill orders within 2 months. Without looking back, she left as Deeply desperately called, "Darling, please let me explain." Lady Tuoxin laughed arrogantly, telling him to apologize himself before demanding others to, leaving him sighing in defeat. Later, Tuoxin-ze sat by the lotus pond when Deeply's frantic cries of "darling" echoed from afar. She turned to see him running over in panic, babbling that everything had been circumstantial, not intentional. She stayed silent, coldly turning away. Deeply clung to a pillar, weeping pitifully. begging her not to leave. Suddenly, Toxin Zai turned back and stepped close, freezing him mid-breath. She leaned down, brushed a kiss on his cheek, deeply froze red-faced. Stammering wordlessly, she softly said she trusted His Majesty and knew he wanted Lady Tuoxin to apologize to her, but she still felt uneasy, though Shed never ignored his sincere heart. Deeply beamed, asking eagerly if that meant she had feelings for him. She turned away, blushing denial. He stepped up, wrapping her tightly from behind, murmuring gently but firmly, "Don't move." Then he lifted her chin, turning her face toward his, eyes full of affection, but Tuoxinze slapped him hard, coldly saying that since had promised to help, had better finish solving the case first. Taking the slap, Diepla just smiled awkwardly, nodded, and invited her to the Ministry of Justice to get the case files. Though smiling outwardly, he groaned inside, pep-talking himself to keep grinding. At the ministry, Tuoxinze hid behind a wall, whispering Shed fetch the files herself. His Majesty needn't act. Yet Diepla replied that he wanted to see his wife in stealth attire, making her sigh at his growing nonsense. He kept flattering her beauty and wit until Tuoxinze coolly retorted that even palace eunuchs stood just as tall. He blinked, asking if the world truly held so many masters. She calmly said talent existed everywhere, each with their own rank. She added that the Qingwang Temple once advised imperial troops could fight wars, not assassins. Thus, if His Majesty sought talent, he should look in the prisons where the strong gather, but their morals were questionable. Deeply nodded, saying desperate times called for bold moves. Founding an elite unit named Six Fangate and appointing her sole commander, she smiled and accepted. Soon after, Diepla held her hand, smiling contently, saying, "Go, he'll wait here," and she nodded, walking off quietly. When she returned, Toxin Zai handed him several items, calmly reporting the mission complete. He nodded in praise, but upon reading one memorial, he frowned. It was freshly written. Testimony fake. He cursed the late emperor's stupidity. As she turned to leave, Deep Light called after her, assigning her to investigate the execution of the Imperial Censors clan. Suspecting someone survived, just as Tuoxinze turned to leave, Diepla called out anxiously, "Wait, my wife." He softly reminded her to stay warm outside, as the night would be cold. Then he draped a pink cloak over her shoulders, repeating gently, "Keep warm." Deeply chuckled smugly, feeling like the most considerate husband alive. Scene shifted to court. Dieply sat amid the ministers, wary at the chaos ahead. His gaze met the prime minister's. Instantly suspicious silence from that man meant plotting. Suddenly, the hall erupted as officials submitted petitions, weeping for justice. Deeply frowned, baffled at the new drama, losing patience. He stomped the days, roaring for an explanation. One minister accused Wu Huan of abusing power and killing 300 loyal soldiers, sparking outrage. Ironically, Deeply looked intrigued, feigning surprise. Who's Wu Huan? Though he knew the man was his own appointee. When called, Wu Huan stepped forward, solemnly claiming he'd only enforced camp discipline, not murdered unjustly. Others countered, saying he'd avenged his family feud and killed for revenge. Another official reasoned that executing nobles exceeded all but the emperor's authority. Deeply arched a brow, pointing at him. "So you say Wu Huan is guilty?" The man bowed, trembling, saying the king should decide. More joined in, demanding Wu Huan's dismissal and investigation. Deeply pondered silently, annoyed at being cornered, then declared, "Fine, punish Wu Huan, but bring me another first." A nervous minister asked who, but before finishing, guards dragged in a prisoner Deeply sternly announced had been ambushed last night at the city god temple. And this was the mastermind linked to the Jinwu guard. The man turned pale, shaking uncontrollably. Worse, the court knelt begging mercy, but Deeply coldly ordered all traitor clans executed. Fear froze the hall. He then asked the chancellor's opinion. The man bowed in panic, claiming ignorance and pleading for review. Deeply glanced at Wu Huan, smirking. His trap worked. The court now submissive, he praised his own brilliance. He placed a hand on Wu Huan's shoulder, ordering him to remain Grand General, hunt rebels, and crush doubters. With that, Deeply waved his hand to dismiss court as voices rang, "Long live His Majesty." As they left, one man clenched his teeth, furious at failure, vowing to investigate Lady Slave, the final piece in the palace game. Meanwhile, Deeply strolled leisurely, yawning that royal life was exhausting, pondering a fishing trip. Suddenly, his eyes lit up. He spotted a familiar figure approaching. It was Toxin Zai. Appearing so suddenly, he froze in surprise. Instantly, Deeply pulled her into his arms. Swift and unexpected, Tuoxin blushed, flustered, struggling weakly, stammering for him to let go, but he lifted her chin, forcing her to meet his gaze. "Teasing, and trying to scare your emperor," she whispered. "I wouldn't dare." He laughed and playfully slapped her rear, saying teasingly, "Seems someone's asking to be punished." She angrily pulled away, saying sternly she came to report intel, not to be teased. Deeply kept grinning slyly, teasing until she blurted, "Ill talk now." She reported that after Taiyu's death, a man named Helion Bailey took over Li King's group, a scorpion-tattooed assassin. Deeply grew thoughtful, realizing things were worsening and forming Six Fangate was urgent. Tuoxin continued, saying this intel was odd since she had received an external command, not just a message. The order held only 4 words: eliminate Li King, making her fear her cover was blown. Diepli pondered and said it was Taechun's test he suspected her. She nervously asked what to do. He reassured her, saying tomorrow it'd spread false info to regain trust, though inwardly he planned to go fishing. Toxin grabbed his hand urgently, telling him to wait, making him frown and ask what now. She asked seriously how far he'd gotten on the old Imperial censor's case. Deep Lie explained the files were forged and there must be a spy in the palace with time. He'd find the true enemy. Toxin nodded firmly, vowing that if His Majesty avenged her, she'd devote her life to him. Deeply smiled faintly, admitting she was reckless but loyal and sincere. Soon after, he relaxed by the lake not long after casting his line. The rod trembled. Excited, Deeplie reeled in only to gape in disbelief. Hooked to his line wasn't a fish but a beautiful girl. Stunned, he blurted, "Darling, little Toxin Z, my sweet." The girl blushed, shyly greeting, "Your Majesty," making Diepli's mind swirl with floating hearts. Nearby, Yang curiously approached, but found Diepli asleep, lips parted in a dream. Just then, Diepli jolted awake, panicked, shouting, "Where's Zay?" Yang hurried to assure him had merely dozed off. Diepli waved it off with an awkward laugh, blaming fatigue from reading memorials. Then asked Yang why he'd come. Yang presented a portrait of a missing butler from the Imperial censor's case, claiming he might be the sole survivor. Diepli rejoiced, thinking his wife brilliant, then ordered copies made and the Imperial guards to search the capital. Learning Toxin was in Changling District on duty, Diepli sighed gloomily like a child missing his favorite toy. Suddenly, a eunuch rushed in, announcing Minister of Justice Chudong sought audience. Diepli smirked, ordering him in, secretly pleased the prey had come to him. Chudong bowed frantically, submitting the autumn execution list for Imperial approval. Skimming it, Diepli saw it filled with Xiao Jie's allies, questioned it, then ordered the list sent to the royal clan office. Chudong objected, saying the evidence was clear and the ministry's duty shouldn't be interfered with. Those words darkened Diepli's face. Anger simmering, he asked coldly, "So the Ministry of Justice belongs to you now?" Chudong went pale. The man dropped to his knees, trembling, stammering had misspoken and meant no offense to His Majesty's authority. Diepli stepped closer, flicking off his hat. Voice icy words can be pardoned, deeds cannot be undone. Chudong trembled, stammering that if they didn't punish the criminals, people might accuse His Majesty of shielding them. Diepli nodded slightly, pretending agree. Fine. I'm fasting this month, not in the mood to kill. Next month will do. Chudong bowed, inwardly sighing that this king was impossible to read. As he left, Yang tried to speak, but Diepli cut him off, ordering more troops to search the mountain immediately. Alone again, Diepli sat in silence, reflecting on a cruel world where lives were cheap and he himself had once been just as cold. Anger flared, he hurled Chudong's hat at the door, shouting furiously. At that moment, a beautiful girl burst in laughing and yelling, throwing the room into chaos. She grabbed his hand, whining, "Emperor Gege." He blinked in confusion. "Zir, what are you doing here?" She grinned, flashing a token proudly. "You gave me this. I was bored, so I came to visit." Diepli chuckled, patting her head, saying, "Perfect timing. I was bored too." Jan Nai tilted her head. "I heard you were sad," he replied. "With you here, how could I be?" Suddenly she pretended to slip onto him, crying, "Ah, it hurts." Diepli widened his eyes, baffled at how such a light fall hurt. Without thinking, he bent down, lifting her gently onto the bed. Both worried and flustered, he examined her foot while Jan Ni inwardly rejoiced, thrilled by his concern, seeing the redness on her foot. Diepli thought, "Feet this delicate, what is she? The Princess of Peas." He massaged lightly, telling her not to move, promising to apply a good ointment. Diepli carefully rubbed the balm on her skin, asking softly if it felt any better. Janai pulled her foot slightly, murmuring shyly, her cheeks glowing pink. Seeing the sadness in his eyes, she asked who had upset her. "Dear Emperor Gege." He sighed that he was merely troubled. Looking to the ceiling, he lamented that the court was full of villains, true talent scarce, and the empire too heavy to bear. Janai suddenly clapped both hands on his cheeks, startling him back to focus. She met his eyes with firm conviction. "You can do it. I believe in my Emperor Gege." Her words lit his heart. Deeply smiled sincerely, replying, "Thank you." Then Jiannai exclaimed, saying she knew a place full of talent that could aid His Majesty. It was Yunya Mountain Villa, a scenic retreat of heroes from Guang and Sangshuan. She even had contacts there. Beaming, she suggested they visit in a few days. Diepli laughed happily, calling her his precious gem. Just then, Tuoxin Zai appeared, face icy, asking bluntly, "Where is His Majesty planning to go?" Diepli froze awkwardly. He looked like a man caught red-handed, while Jane Ni giggled gleefully behind her hand. Not stopping, Janie jumped up, hugged Diepli tight, and showered him with kisses, laughing that her leg was perfectly fine now. Instantly, Tuoxin pulled her back, coldly warning, "The princess is injured, let the imperial physicians check." Then she turned to Diepli, asking flatly if she should avoid the princess. He waved it off. "No need. We're all family here." Tuoxin Zai reported that 2 special prisoners had been safely brought into the palace, presenting files and asking if His Majesty wished to meet them now. Diepli replied instantly, "Of course, right now, darling." Jen Nai, "Come along." Late at night, crows cried above, gloom thickening over the courtyard. Tuoxin pointed to a group of black-clad figures in the shadows, saying they were elite prisoners, 12 at first. Now only 4. She explained that 8 had been sent as spies, while the remaining 4 were the best. Deepla gaped, stunned by their fierce aura. He clasped his hands with a polite smile, ready to greet them, but before he could speak, an old woman with silver hair leaped forward, poking his cheek and laughing. The Emperor's skin is so soft, I love it. Deeply froze, clutching his chest, inwardly screaming, damn it, am I being harassed by delinquents? Darling, save me. Meanwhile, a girl named Ali approached Tuoxin, admiring her smooth skin and asking for beauty tips, leaving Tuoxin speechless. Deeply sighed, realizing the entire bunch was deeply problematic. He glanced at the most normal-looking one, Jin Shizan, hoping for relief, but when the man removed his hat, revealing dark circles and a pale face, Deeply thought, has definitely kidney deficient. Turning to Tuoxin, he asked despairingly, darling, are these people really okay? She calmly replied that they ranked among the top 10 assassins of the martial world. Forsex once failed to capture them. Deeply skeptically asked why they were caught so easily. Tuoxin answered coolly, Renya was caught harassing men, Ho Jia by villagers, Ali for stealing candy from kids, and Jin Shizan for keeping people up all night partying. Deeply sighed, cold sweat trickling down, thinking, fine, I'll just roll with it. Facing the group, he said sternly, you're here because Tuoxin chose you. I believe you're not truly evil, only misunderstood. Then he pointed at them, declaring, from today, your chance to change destiny begins. He continued, obey my command, destroy traitors, punish the wicked, and your names will be honored for eternity. To his horror, they all groaned, complaining, no mood, too old, don't want to work anymore. Deeply stood frozen, dark-faced, forcing himself to ask again, so you truly want nothing? Instantly, their eyes lit up. One wanted beauty care, another a playmate, one a man, and another medicine for aging. Deeply rubbed his temples, nodding weakly. Find that simple enough. They perked up, asking eagerly, does your majesty have a way? He led them into a special room, proudly announcing, this is the Silver Gate room, created just for you. Pointing to the table, he said, this is Mahjong, a fun, healthy game that prevents senility. Ho Jia and Ali clapped excitedly, faces beaming. Deeply added, play often and your hands will stay soft. Plus, I'll assign handsome attendants to play with you. At once, they cheered in joy, rushing to hug him and shouting, loyal to his majesty forever. Jin Shizan even knelt on one knee, swearing, if I betray, may heaven and earth strike me down. Pale-faced, Deeply quickly backed toward the Mahjong table, waving, enough, rise, all of you. He straightens his robe and declares sternly, from now on, you're the first members of Lupian Men. Suxin will be the sect leader, giving orders and guidance. Just then, a eunuch rushes in, reporting someone brought a message from his majesty. Eli startles, instantly thinking of Hu Dian Lo Bao. Could there finally be news? He opens the letter. The owner of Xishen shop on Dong Qinglong Street is Ling Wufeng in the capital. Urgent investigation required. Smiling, he turns to Suxin. Wufeng is right here in the capital. This case is about to move forward. Without delay, Yili orders your first mission, capture the Xishen shop owner and bringing here within 1 hour. Yes, your majesty, they chorus. In less than half an hour, the 4 return, dragging a bound man trembling on his knees. Yili lounges on his chair, praising their speed and skill. He asks coldly, Wufeng, do you know why I've summoned you? The man trembles, stammering, this humble Zhang Fu knows nothing. I'm just an honest merchant. Yili's eyes narrow, voice icy silence. Today, I'll make sure you die knowing exactly why. Suddenly Suxin storms in, voice sharp as a blade. So it was you. Wufeng gasps in terror. She draws her dagger, eyes frosty. Your majesty, let me kill him myself. Yili stops her quickly. Wait is just a pawn. Kill him, and the mastermind walks free. Wufeng collapses, begging for mercy, swearing he was forced. Yili snapped. Then speak. Who framed the Yu Shiling? The man sobs, I know nothing. Your majesty, please spare me, I truly don't know. Yili frowns coldly, tough mouth. Huh, fine, who wants to interrogate him? Has yours. The prisoners smirk wickedly, excitement flashing as they step forward eagerly. Renyao lunges first, yanking down Wufeng's pants with a demonic grin. I'll eat this old man. The victim screams in panic. At last, terrified, Wufeng yells, I'll talk. It was Chu Tang, Minister of Justice. He paid me 500 taels and ordered me to bury silver in Yushi's courtyard to frame someone else. Suxin freezes, whispering in disbelief, all these years I was being used. Tears fall as she kneels before Yili. Your majesty, please help me avenge this injustice. Yili grips her hand firmly. Don't worry, I'll make sure you get justice. He commands loudly, Lupian men, move, bring Chu Tang here at once. Soon after, Ali bursts in and throws a bound man to the ground. It's Chu Tang. He glares up, shouting, who dares invade the minister's estate? Do you all seek death? Yili smirks, such majesty. Chu Darren. The man freezes, realizing from Suxin and Wufeng's presence that his exposed. He points, trembling, your majesty, it was me. He framed me. I had nothing to do with the Yu Shiling case. Yili arches a brow coldly. Oh, I never mentioned that case. Why so nervous? Chu Tang stammers, speechless. Suddenly he shouts, He'll prove my innocence with death, and tries to leap into the lake, but Yilai orders, stop him, while he darts forward, blocking his path and grabbing him in a flash. Before he can recover, Chu Tang is thrown down hard, trembling before Yili, who sneers, "Want to die? You think I'm a bodhisattva?" He growls, "You're Taichun's underling, you know plenty. Speak, I want everything." Chu Tang laughs bitterly, "I'm doomed anyway, but if you plan to humiliate me with men, forget it." Ali bursts out laughing, "Men, keep dreaming." Yili draws his sword, voice icy relaxed, "No humiliation. I'll expose your crimes for all to see, death by shame." Terrified, Chu Tang turns pale, stammering curses weakly in fear. Yili flicks his sword, slicing his neck, blood spills, staining the floor red. Frowning impatiently, Yili snaps, "Will you talk or not?" Chu Tang breaks down, screaming, begging to confess everything. His wails annoy Ali, who kicks him hard to shut him up. Then Yili coldly presses on, demanding the true mastermind behind the Tai Shen case. But before he finishes, an arrow shoots from nowhere, piercing Chu Tang's chest dead instantly. Yili shouts in shock. It's clear that shot wasn't from any ordinary archer. He rushes outside, points to the arrow's direction, and orders Ali to pursue at all costs. Suksin gasps in horror about the hidden power behind it. Yili replies coldly, "The trail isn't cold yet." To the Chu estate. That night, Yili leads troops to surround the Chu mansion under tense silence. Suddenly, Chu Ji, Chu Tang's nephew, protests loudly, claiming innocence and devotion to the people. Yili folds his arms, silent, eyes full of contempt. He can read greed written all over the man's face. Then a guard presents a red bottle. Chu Ji scoffs, "Search if you dare, but don't be weak." Yili muses that where one treasure hides, greater secrets surely lie beneath. His eyes catch a lone potted plant awkwardly placed on a bookshelf. Suspicion rising, he turns the pot slightly to inspect it. A metallic click sounds. The shelf slides open, revealing a deep underground passage. Suksin gasps, "Your Majesty knew there was a secret path all along." Yili replies calmly, "Dust covers everything except that spotless pot, obviously suspicious. Let's go." Chu Ji turns pale, heart pounding, silently cursing his doomed fate. The door opens wide, piles of gold and silver gleam. Yili roars, "All this wealth stolen from corruption." He immediately orders its confiscation, voice dripping with disdain, while Chu Ji stands frozen, weeping in despair. Suksin opens a chest, finding bribe letters and banknotes. Yili declares furiously, "Arrest them all." Suddenly, Suksin picks up a strange scroll. Astonished, someone forged an imperial decree. Yili inspects it closely. It's a genuine edict from the late emperor, sealed inside, forbidding interference with the treasury's transport. Still uneasy, he asks Suksin about the treasury mentioned. She shakes her head, saying she's never heard of it and wonders if it matters. Yili answers gravely, "The late emperor wouldn't issue an order for something trivial. Since my ascension, no one's mentioned it. Something's clearly off." Suksin realizes someone hid the imperial treasury for themselves. Yili nods, ordering secrecy until a full investigation. He growls, "Anyone who dares steal from the empire will pay dearly. Two things are sacred, my silver and my women." With that, he turns and strides out, cold and unflinching. Outside, Ali and Hoji kneel in tears, confessing their failure to capture the killer. Yili commands coldly, "Heads down, tell me everything that happened." All four, bruised and battered, report that the assassin had help, clearly a professional. Yili frowns, "So no leads at all?" Ren Yao replies they only saw a scorpion tattoo on the man's hand. At the word scorpion, Yili has Suksin confirm it's Lion Bali, assassin leader once serving Tai Shen. He orders their capture at once. He then recalls him. Lai is about to march toward Kaixian Wang's land. Suksin urges him to rest and recover. Back in his chamber, Yili pushes open the door. The dim light chills the air. Suddenly he freezes. A body hangs suspended before him, making him stumble back. It's Suksin herself. He rushes to hold her, voice trembling. "What are you doing?" She avoids his gaze, tears streaming, confessing she was used to harm others and can't be forgiven. Only death can atone. Yili sighs inwardly, thinking it's a fitting end. She pleads to live a little longer to see her enemy punished first. Yili smirks, "Now you remember loyalty. Huh." Then he looks at her and says solemnly, "You have talent. Join me, help run Lupian men, handle intelligence and train loyal agents." Stunned, Suksin kneels, vowing to serve faithfully and destroy Tai Shen alongside him. Yili, calm but firm, "The past is done. Serve me well, and I won't fail you." Thus Suksin takes charge of assassinations. Sutan of intelligence. Their teamwork could shift the empire's fate. Sutan steps back, asking when to begin. Yili replies, "Whenever you deem fit. For now, wait, I have questions." He shows her the imperial edict from Chus estate, asking if she's heard of the treasury mentioned. She frowns, confirming it's the late emperor's decree. Yili recounts that the former emperor crushed the Liaodong bandits and seized vast silver, recorded meticulously in secret ledgers. Since then, that fortune vanished. It must be the hidden treasury in the decree. To confirm, they must question Huang Yu, Minister of Revenue. Yili nods thoughtfully, instructs her to keep it secret, and officially appoints her as head of Lupian men. Then he meets Suksin, takes her hand softly, saying, "Tomorrow, you lead the troops to seize Lion Bali. I'll go to Yunya Shanjuang." Suddenly, he pulls her into an embrace, sighing tiredly, voice laced with longing, "I don't want to part from you." The next morning, Yili and Jinai ride off by carriage toward Yunya Shanjuang through the morning mist. Zini leans on his shoulder, grinning playfully. Today's just our world. Emperor Kaka, she teases, between me and Su Di, who moves your heart more? Yili blushes, speechless. He straightens up and warns gently, men and women should keep their distance, don't get too close. That remark makes Zinai blush in fury and shame. Snapping, you touched my leg and now act pure. Yili stammers it was an accident. She pouts. You ruined my innocence, take responsibility. Yili just sighs in defeat. Soon their carriage stops before Yunya Shanjuang. Nestled in the silent mountains, Steward Ui and a servant come out smiling humbly, saying they've awaited this day. Zini gently corrects him. Call me Princess of Nanyang, and this is the man you're to meet today. Ui bows politely, introducing himself. Yili notes his fake refinement but keeps a calm front, calling himself a mere commoner. At once, Yui's servant snaps, shouting that a low-born fool shouldn't approach the princess. Ui yells at him to shut up and not insult the honored guest. He apologizes to Yili and Genie, blaming poor discipline and inviting them inside. Yili replies coolly, no harm done, yet inwardly. Yili smirks, already seeing through the man's hypocrisy. This place likely holds no good answers. Zinai eagerly pulls his arm, wanting to tour with Ui, but he declines, saying she can show him around herself. Ui fumes inside, scornful that a country bumpkin in white dares walk ahead of him. On the path, Zinai whispers, Emperor Kaka, you dislike Ui, don't you? Yili has a fake gentleman, full of schemes, if not for protocol. It'd have slapped him. Zinai obediently promises to stay away. Then she asks curiously, what's a slap? Yili blushes, muttering, a rude word, forget it. She giggles, why do you know so many strange words? Teach me. Before he can answer, a loud voice nearby debates justice between nobles and commoners. Yili perks up, realizing there's still reason in this manner. Come, let's see. In the courtyard, 4 scholars argue fiercely. One side claims nobles must rule. The other cries that corruption reigns while the poor suffer. Words turn violent. A blond man punches his opponent, roaring that defiance brings punishment. Bloody but unbowed, the beaten scholar shouts that if given power, he'd make rich and poor equal under one law. The other 3 move to attack, but a commanding voice orders, stop. Yili steps forward, eyes cold. Voice cutting, can't win an argument, so you brawl. Did the sages teach you to act like dogs? The blonde snarls, demanding who he is, warning he'll share the same fate. He lunges, but Yili grabs his wrist, squeezing until the man screams in shock at his strength. Just then, Zinai rushes it, shouting, this is no place for your nonsense. Follow me, go see Ui now. The scholars pale, bowing in fear. Yes, princess, will go. As they leave, Yili helps Zhang Yu up, asking softly if his hurt. Zhang Yu gazes at him with such blazing admiration that it sends a chill down Yili's spine. Suddenly, Zhang Yu drops to his knees, clutching Yili's leg and shouting, Your Majesty, I've waited for this day, leaving Yili flustered, insisting he's just Yi King. Zhang Yu beams, saying his astrology foretold that if he stayed here long enough, the emperor would one day come to recruit him. Yili, suspecting madness, tries to step away, but Zhang Yu keeps rambling that tomorrow His Majesty will summon him and grant him the Justice Ministry post. The words startle Yili. The man sounds deranged but somehow guessed his thoughts. Maybe he's not entirely a fool. Yili tests him, if you're so skilled in astrology, tell me the empire's fortune right now. Zhang Yu picks up a twig, replying solemnly, let me see the nation's fate. Then he begins divining earnestly for His Majesty's destiny. Yili watches skeptically, predicting heaven's will with a twig. Childish nonsense. Zhang Yu plants the twig in the dirt, closes his eyes, murmuring incantations. Suddenly the twig tilts and falls eastward, an eerie air settling over the place. Yili frowns. What does east mean? Why that direction? Zhang Yu opens his eyes gravely. The east symbolizes the grindstone, the dawn of light. He declares, Your Majesty is the rising sun, this dynasty shall flourish. Then twirls about like a lunatic, leaving Yili sighing in exasperation. Finally, Yili waves him off, report to Xuan to gate tomorrow. Zhang Yu beams as if has won a grand prize. When done, Yili looks around for Ji, frowning, wondering why she hasn't returned. Suddenly Zhang Yu speaks like reciting prophecy. The mountain shines, but water does not move. Birds flee from none who come today. The princess faces peril. Yili freezes. He bolts off like lightning, vowing to save her no matter the cost. I must be behind this. Behind him, Zhang Yu smiles faintly, muttering, Your Majesty, this is the path you chose, bear its weight. Meanwhile, Yili kicks open a door with a thunderous crack echoing down the hall. The sight before him ignites his fury. You bastard! You dared touch what's mine. You've signed your death warrant. Yui, how fun-dressed, spins around shouting, Get out! Yili answers coldly, tired of living, and slaps him so hard the man spins. Yui, bleeding from the mouth, snarls, You dare hit me? Do you know who I am? Yili snaps back, Do you know who I am? His killing aura chills the air. Yui trembles against the wall. Yili grips his neck, squeezing until the man can't breathe. Voice low and deadly, touch what's mine, and your whole Yu clan dies. Yui gasps soundlessly, clutching himself in pain, too terrified to speak. Yili finishes with a brutal kick, get out, and leaves him groaning on the floor. He rushes to Genie, gently shaking her. Zenai, wake up! Relief floods him. He arrived in time. She's safe. But before he can say more, Zenai opens her eyes, face flushed, whispering shakily, Emperor Kaka. Then she suddenly kisses him, leaving Yili frozen, mind blank with shock. Her kisses grow wilder, calling his name again and again. Yili realizes she's clearly been drugged. He hurriedly pulls her clothes back up, muttering that he must find a doctor immediately. But she starts undressing again, eyes hazy, voice sweetly calling his name over and over, leaving him completely panicked. In an instant, Zenai pushes him onto the bed, breathing heavily while Yili screams for help. That night, the two are swept into a scandal no one could have imagined. The next morning, Yili wakes covered in pink marks, staring in speechless horror. Zenai sits neatly by the bed, smiling brightly. Emperor Kaka, you're awake? Yili jumps back, stammering, how did this happen? She giggles, I was drugged, only one way to cure it. You know, he hesitates, about to say has always seen her as a sister, when the door bursts open. Lazia storms in with guards, swords drawn, shouting, you slept with the princess and still deny it? Prepare to die. He adds, if his majesty won't grant her a title, will defy heaven itself. Pale with fear, Yili hides under the blanket, trembling, fine, choose any place in the harem you want. Zenai claps joyfully, watching her cheer. Yili can only scream inwardly, what a trap. Perfect setup he never saw coming. The next day in the study, Zenai sits on his lap as if it's routine. A eunuch reads the decree. She's now Gai Fei, effective immediately. She smiles, feeding him a grape and thanks. Yili chews bitterly, forcing a grin to stay alive. Blushing, Zenai whispers, so now we're really one family, right? Uncle Lee, Lazia bows deeply. The Gai Fei speaks true. This servant will die to protect you both. Yili sighed, thinking, amazing how fast loyalties flip. Yesterday he wanted my head. Calmly, he declares, from now on, the Z clan and I are one. It'll grant you more authority in court affairs. All three bow in unison, eyes gleaming like dogs-handed bones. Just then, a eunuch rushes in. Your majesty, a man's been standing outside Xuandi Gate since dawn. Wants speak or leave. Yili Zhou, remembering yesterday's encounter, and orders, bring him to me at once. But before that can happen, a flood of ministers pours in, crowding the hall, making Yili's head spin. Annoyed, he snaps, why are there more of you here than my own household? Speak! A senior official steps forward gravely. The Luoyang troops have rebelled from famine. Jiangnan's waterworks stalled 7 months. The people suffer. Please, your majesty, send relief. Inside, the man sneers, knowing the young emperor, newly distracted by his Gai feet, will stumble if forced to release funds. Yili grits his teeth, shouting for the Minister of Revenue, demanding to know why wages haven't been paid and where the treasury's silver went. Huang Yu enters calmly, replying that drought and palace construction emptied the coffers, prompting Yili to press him to confess the truth. Huang Yu kneels, only 20,000 taels remain. Even if your majesty kills me, I swear none were embezzled. Records can prove it. Outside, Taechun smirks, thinking the empire's chaos will crush the young emperor, but Yili catches the deceit and senses Huang Yu's honesty. Immediately, Yili orders Huang Yu held in Qianla prison for review, promising a fair inquiry. Huang Yu kneels, thanking him for sparing his life. Just then, an official steps forward, reminding that the empty treasury is Huang Yu's responsibility. But Yili scans the hall, asking dryly, so you all want me to execute him right here? Taechun quickly interjects, urging the emperor to find silver fast before famine sparks rebellion. Hiding his disgust, Yili replies coolly, I already have a plan. Order Xia Yang to seize Chu Tang's assets. Use 1,000,000 taels for Jiangnan's relief. Xia Yang bows to accept. Hearing 1,000,000 taels, Taechun stiffens, cursing his underlings for hiding that fortune, grinding his teeth in rage. Suddenly, Yili says coldly, that's just the surface. How much dirty silver still lies buried? Taechun freezes, then fakes a smile, praising the emperor's wisdom while inwardly panicking at how deep the corruption runs. Nervously, he asks how his majesty plans to handle the rest. Yili hesitates, clearly not having thought that far. Before he can speak, Zhang Yu bursts in like a savior, loudly claiming the missing funds are actually double that amount. He waves a document and confesses, shocking everyone present. Taechun stands dumbstruck, heart pounding, screaming silently. What? Meanwhile, elsewhere, Suxin hears that Jinai was made Gafei, grows furious, and gallops back to the palace. Back in court, Yili grabs Zhang Yu's arm, demanding where the rest of the silver is hidden. Zhang Yu confidently recounts posing as Yaxing while drinking, finding a treasure map, leaving all speechless. Yili recalls a detail had overlooked, murmuring the question of the treasure's location. Half doubting the man's luck, Zhang Yu spreads the map, pointing straight at one spot. The treasure lies within the Tai Mansion. He laughs triumphantly, urging his majesty to claim it for the people in the realm. Taechun peers at the map, protesting its nonsense, but Yili insists, for the people's sake, it'll risk it unless you've got a better idea. Yili's words choke Taechun silent. He mutters a few trembling phrases, thinking, I'm doomed. Still, he masks his fear, volunteering to share the burden and promising to cut official spending so no one starves. Bowing out, he smirks privately, eager to see how Yili survives this mess. Watching him leave, Yili chuckles softly, who knew a gentle squeeze of pressure could make a crook bow so low. He turns to Zhang Yu, praising him warmly. Zhang Yu instantly demands to be made Minister of Justice, swearing lifelong loyalty. Then, licking his lips, he even requests freedom to choose his own subordinates, his greed startling Yili. Yili raises an eyebrow, half amused, half warning. You've got guts asking that much. Finally, he waves dismissively, reluctantly agreeing just to send him away. Zhang Yu bows with glee, swearing eternal service. Yili snaps. Enough. Go! Before it's noon already, when silence returns, sleepiness hits him. He yawns, mumbling, Treasury crisis solved, now what's next? Suddenly, Tanzai strides in, arms crossed, declaring smugly, I'm level 100, and you're barely level 6, Your Majesty. Then she frowns sternly, scolding that making a princess Gaifa breaks protocol and shames the Empire for ignoring hierarchy. Yili stands frozen, utterly speechless at the unexpected lecture. After a pause, he stammered, Are you jealous? Making Sintrai blink and blurt out, Huh, jealous. Yili pressed on, asking if she felt worried or angry. She admitted both. He leaned closer, teasing, Wanna hit me? She hesitated, then confessed, Maybe a little. Yili snapped his fingers, red roses bloomed, and he said softly he'd love her more than anyone because her jealousy proved she cared. He ended with a plea, Don't be mad anymore, making Sintrai blush and murmur, I'm not mad now. Yili grinned, joking, Then let's go catch goldfish in prison, leaving her blinking. Goldfish. Meanwhile, in the damp dungeon, Hongyu trembled and knelt before his majesty. Yili lifted him up gently, scolding softly that he wasn't that scary, while Huangyu confessed to draining the treasury. Yili whispered that Huangyu was once famed as the honest minister, and suspected someone forced his betrayal. He promised protection if Huangyu spoke, but the man cried that he knew nothing and would take the blame. Sintrai, furious, gripped her sword, coldly saying some men only speak when taught fear. She swung. Huangyu panicked and clung to Yili, who calmed his wife. Yili asked sharply if villains were threatening his family. Huangyu began trembling. Yili urged him to confess, promising to shield his kin rather than let them die. Huangyu fell to his knees, sobbing and begging for death, pleading to stop the questions. Watch him cry. Yili sighed, saddened that such a just man had fallen so low. After a pause, he relented, saying softly, Enough, I won't press you further. He turned and slowly walked out of the dungeon. Huangyu wept, whispering Yili's fading figure, Forgive me, but you can save them. The next morning, Sintrai asked why he hadn't pressed harder. Yili said the man no longer believed anyone could help. He added that anyone able to terrify a minister must hold vast power, and ordered the Six Gates to investigate the Huang family. Hearing that, Yili hugged her, teasing that his empress was truly the most reliable. Sintrai blushed and snapped, Let go, I'm working. But Yili playfully slid his hand down, saying he'd spread rumors of Huangyu's innocence to flush out the puppet master. Sintrai fumed, blasted him across the room, while Yili got up laughing, praising her perfect waist, leaving Kimping residence. He rubbed his sore head and chuckled, Yep, my wife loves me. Time to check with Suoxin about progress. Soon, Yili stood outside Suoxin's room, ready to talk, sensing she was hiding something. Inside, Suoxin quickly covered the things on her desk and bowed, while Yili smiled, asking how the Six-Petal Division's training was going. Yili frowned, noticing a strange scent in the air, and curiously asked what it was. Suoxin gently replied that she had chosen trustworthy agents to train secretly in Kimping residence. Yili praised her and urged caution. He sniffed again, guessing it was calming incense, admiring her fine taste in self-care. Growing drowsy, he slumped into a chair, yawning that the fragrance made him want a nap. His casual words made Suoxin blush, thinking his majesty was hinting at something intimate. A flash of memory hit her. Yili once held a whip, teasing her, and she trembled, face burning. She picked up the whip, walking toward him, making Yili jump up and ask warily, What are you doing? Blushing, she handed him the whip and bowed, whispering she was ready for punishment if he wished. Shame flickered in her eyes alongside a strange, curious glint. Yili froze, shouting, Are you insane? But she only smiled, praising, So fierce. Her delighted shriek left Yili speechless, and red-faced he dropped the whip, muttering he'd pretend this never happened. As he turned to leave, her trembling voice called, Wait. She tugged at her collar, asking shyly if he didn't want to stay a bit longer. Yili panicked, covering his eyes, stammering, not looking improper. Then he bolted out, yelling, No way! If my wife finds out, I'm dead. Suoxin froze, sadness clouding her eyes as she wondered if she'd lost all charm. Back in his room, Yili panted, muttering that ancient women were terrifying. Just then, a familiar voice called, Your Majesty, making him flinch and groan inwardly. Not again. He quickly raised his hands, blurting, I didn't do anything. Really? Sintrai entered, frowning. What are you babbling about? We found Huangyu's family come. Yili gasped. Already? She explained sternly that Huangyu's wife and child vanished after visiting her parents, leaving only her father, whom she brought in for questioning. When they arrived, the old man knelt trembling as Sintrai pointed out he refused to explain his daughter and grandson's abduction. The man cried out, claiming innocence and begging his majesty to spare him. Yili's tone chilled. Fear not, I won't kill you, but silence might. Speak, when were they taken? The man stammered incoherently. Seeing hesitation, Yili ordered interrogation. Terrified, the man crawled forward, sobbing, ill tell, spare me. Amid tears, he confessed it happened 2 months ago. Huang Yu forbade him to speak. Fearing his family would be killed, Yili vowed solemnly to rescue them and protect all his kin. The man continued. His daughter and grandson were seized by strangers who struck him unconscious. When he woke, they were gone, leaving only faint traces. With shaking hands, he pulled a small item from his robe, saying he'd found it in the grass nearby. Yili took it and turned to Xin Tre. See what this is? She glanced and replied, a token from Feng Chen House. She explained that the place removes its sign when hosting guests. Yili pondered that the suspect might be a frequent visitor who dropped the token during the crime. Yili strode to the door, ordering firmly, go investigate Feng Chen House at once. Before leaving, he told Sayan to guard the old man tightly. Sayan bowed in response. Soon, the two stood at Feng Chen House's gate, the noise inside as lively as ever. Yili sighed bitterly, muttering, third time here and still no clues. Main character luck sure sucks. Suddenly, a drunken voice slurred, hey beauty, come drink with me. Yili turned to see a drunk staggering toward Xin Tre. He instantly stepped in front of her, shouting, who dares be rude before the emperor? But the drunk lunged, hugging Yili's waist and moaning, just one touch. Furious, Yili smacked him twice and roared, get lost. How dare you offend my consort? Then he hugged Xin Tre dramatically, crying, wife, my honor's been violated. The crowd burst into laughter. Joking, the drunk needed new eyes. A deep, cold voice echoed, who dares make trouble in my Feng Chen house? All turned to see a reed-haired, elegant figure, clearly a woman dressed as a man. Stirring murmurs all around. Yili frowned, thinking, am I the only one seeing? She's obviously a woman. He leaned to Xin Tre, whispering, that boss, doesn't he look like a woman? She calmly said, very handsome. The words stabbed him like arrows. He nearly spat blood from heartbreak. Turning away sulkily, he muttered, well, fair, handsome, and classy, after all. Yili stepped closer, poked the boss' chest, mumbling, so real, looking uncanny. The air froze. Everyone stared in shock. Yili realized he'd just made a fatal mistake. The boss' face darkened, voice dripping sarcasm, didn't know you had such refined tastes. With a sly smile, the boss said, we've met thrice, yet you seem eager. Let me fulfill your wish. 2 burly men appeared, each grabbing his shoulder, dragging Yili away. Yili flailed, screaming, wife, save me. Moments later, he was shoved into a windowless room. Alarmed, he babbled, it was an accident. Quick reflexes, not bad intentions, I was wrong. The boss shut the door softly, murmuring, quick reflexes. You say, interesting. Stepping close, pinning him to a chair, the boss smirked. You like Nan Feng that much? Fine, I'll indulge you. Yili gaped, picturing the boss in a dress, muttering, wait, wasn't she a woman? Then thought in panic, so crossdressers existed even in ancient times? Swallowing hard, he forced a grin, blurting, I get it. You pulled me here for a secret talk, right? The boss chuckled, eyes glinting. Smart. Third meeting now. What brings you to me? Yili stammered. Third? Nope, it's the fourth. The boss lifted his chin teasingly. Really? I recall only 3. Yili laughed nervously. Right, my mistake. Once calm returned, Yili cautiously asked, why did Boss Huyen hide his true face before? A full man pretending to be a woman? Why? Huyen smiled, replying, it's just clothing. With feeling, it means something. Without it, it's nothing at all. Yili's face paled. Yeah, right, he thought. Sounds wise, but that's just fancy talk for flirting. Still, he felt oddly pleased. First time someone called him smart. Huyen smiled. Came this late just to chat with me? Yili quickly raised the token. Nope, I came for this. See, it's yours, right? Huyen examined it, surprised, confirming it was a rare Feng Chen House token, and asked where he got it. Yili replied, found it by chance, but it's tied to a missing person case. Lives may be at stake. I need your help. Huyen studied it, then said, this belongs to room 2, usually rented by someone named He. Yili immediately asked, where is he now? Huyen answered, he hasn't shown up in a while. Reeks of medicine. I've drawn his portrait and gathered leads. Don't worry. Yili bowed gratefully. Thanks, you've helped me greatly. He turned to leave, looking relieved. But before he could step out, a firm hand landed on his shoulder. Huyen pulled him back, grinning. No rush if I serve you. I'll do it right. Tonight we drink as brothers. Yili stammered. That's unnecessary. He tried to refuse. I must return. Urgent business. Huyen cut in. Drink now. Worry later. He will surface soon. Come, shoulder to shoulder like brothers. Then she suddenly pinched Yili's butt. Laughing, Huyen leaned close, teasing, we're both men, surely you're not afraid I'll seduce you. Yili yelped, clutching his backside as he bolted, shouting, I have work, don't touch me, I just got groped by a man. Huyen chuckled softly, murmuring, I once saw him as a tool but his far more amusing. Take care, young lord. As the door closed, Huyen shed her male disguise, revealing a graceful figure and sly smile. A man like him is worth my attention. Meanwhile, Yili burst back to Xin Tre, wailing, Wife, you've no idea how terrifying that boss is. She sighed. At least you made it back intact. Suddenly, a sweet voice called, Emperor brother. Yili turned, stunned. It was Jini. He asked awkwardly why she was there. Zini gently scolded him for skipping dinner, proudly saying she'd cooked herself and urged him to eat. The words cooked herself made Yili break into a cold sweat. Recalling past culinary trauma, fumbling for an excuse, he quickly turned to find Xin Trai, hoping she'd share the meal for safety, calling her name nervously, but she was gone without a trace, leaving an ominous silence. Zenai hooked his arm, smiling. Sister Xin must have given us privacy. While Yili panicked inside, she's trying to kill me for sure. Zini giggled. If you're not hungry, there are other ways to feel full. Her tone honeyed and dangerous. Yili's face burned red, heart pounding fresh from one predator into another, utterly doomed. Soon after, in the bedchamber, curtains drawn tight, the two sat facing each other on the bed, tension thick enough to choke him. Then Jine began undressing him, trembling hand still steady as she slipped off her own clothes. Yili curled under the blanket, begging shakily for mercy. Worse? Zini giggled. I am eating, leaving him utterly speechless. Yili nearly exploded inside. She's really doing it. His eyes filled with fear and despair. She gently lifted his chin, smiling sweetly. Asking if the emperor loved her most, he nodded furiously. Hearing that, Zina blushed, cheeks glowing with drunken joy. Then she laughed softly and pushed him onto the bed. The night filled with breathless chaos. Spring night faded into silence, though its heat lingered in the air. At dawn, Yili hurriedly dressed and tiptoed out, praying to escape before she woke. But right outside, he ran straight into Xin Trei's heart sank. Why am I cursed like this? She sternly reported that 6th Petal Division found He at the South City textile mill. Now surrounded, asking if they should strike. Yili nodded frantically, ordering to move out, and told Xie Yang to bring reinforcements. On the way, he sighed in exasperation. Life just wouldn't give him a break. Soon, they reached the back gate of the mill, where Jin Shisan respectfully reported. He said they'd watched all night, no movement. He went in and vanished, only commoners inside. Hearing that, Yili lowered his voice, ready to order rest, but changed his mind. Sneak in first. Jin Shisan refused. Words just vanished in a flash, leaving Yili gaping at his inhuman speed. Then Xin Trai stepped to the wall, calmly saying she'd go in next. As she moved, Yili jumped onto her back, begging for a lift over the wall. She scolded coldly, but he clung tighter, resigned. Xin Trai sighed and carried Yili over the wall like a stubborn sack. Landing quietly, Yili scanned the spotless floor. Thick dust. No footprints, definitely suspicious. Just then, a man's grumbling voice sounded outside, carrying a lunch basket. Complaining about errands, Yili signaled Jin Shisan with a sharp look. Catch him. Jin Shisan lunged like a wild beast, swift and silent. He grabbed the man by the collar, face menacing, making him tremble and sweat in terror. Dragging him in, Yili interrogated, who sent you? For whom? Why? The man confessed it was He's order to feed the captured family of the ministry treasurer hidden in the well. Yili narrowed his eyes, muttering, disguise trick again. Without waiting, Jin Shisan knocked the man out cold and tossed him aside neatly. Xin Trai suggested calling the Imperial Guards, but Yili shook his head. There were hostages, they must check the well first. The three approached the dark pit. Peering down, Xin Trai and Jin Shisan spoke together. Let's go, Yili grimaced, whispering, maybe call for backup first. Moments later, the three were already below, the damp chill pressing around them. As they entered the tunnel, 2 guards spotted them. One shouted, who's there? Without hesitation, Xin Trai ordered sharply. Jin Shisan, take them out. In a blink, the 2 guards dropped one dead before he could scream. Yili squinted into the pitch dark, groaning, can't see a thing, like walking in a black hole. Torchlight revealed a trembling mother and child huddled in the corner. Eyes wide with fear, Yili yelped, ah, ghosts! Nearly dropping his torch. Regaining composure, he asked quickly, you're Huangya's wife, right? I'm here to save you. The girl whispered, really? He nodded firmly. Just then, He stormed in with 2 goons, sneering, you think you can stroll in and out of here at will? Yili's tone hardened. He demanded why He dared kidnap a minister's kin, declaring he already knew who he was. He scoffed, doesn't matter, your life's mine now. He punched, but Yili calmly pointed behind him, saying slowly, yo, then look back. They turned and screamed. From the dark, pale hand shot out, grabbing the nearest man by the neck. Then came a frying pan slam to the face. The man howled like bitten by a viper, collapsing in spasms. Yili's eyes chilled as he watched the thugs fall, smirking, take them away, just small fry. He staggered up, furious, shouting, you dare mess with me, I'll kill you all. Yili quickly scooped up Huangya's child, guiding the wife out while assuring, don't worry, once we're outside, you'll be safe. He bent to whisper to the girl, hold tight, don't be scared. Moments later, they climbed out of the well, gulping the cool night air in relief. Jin Shisan stepped forward, your majesty, the assassins are subdued. Yili nodded, good, well done. The wife knelt gratefully, thank you, your majesty, but He only followed orders. There's someone higher, Yila's brow furrowed. Who? She stammered. I don't know his name. He always wore a mask with a scorpion mark on his hand. Please capture him to clear our names. Yili froze. The name Helion Bailey flashed coldly in his mind. Suddenly, the air hissed. Hidden weapons rained down. Sintre shouted, "Protect the Emperor!" Helion Bailey descended like smoke, voice hoarse and icy. "Your Majesty, you were looking for me." Yili smirked, eyes glinting. "So, you finally crawl out?" "Huh!" Helion sneered. "You think you can walk out with them alive?" Sintre drew her sword, cold as frost. "Well, see who leaves here alive." Helion laughed arrogantly. "No one can stop me." He lunged, but after a few moves realized her strength too strong, then pivoted to attack Yi Li, ordering his men to block her. The goons swarmed Sintre, yet she cut them down with clean, merciless strikes. Meanwhile, Helion closed in on Yi Li, or a murderess. Snarling, "Let's see where you run now." Yi Li sweated as too fast. He shielded the mother and child, gritting his teeth. "They're the only lead. I won't lose them." Urging, "Run! He'll hold him." Helion sneered. "You, stop me!" His blade slashed, grazing Yila's robe. Yi Li yelped. "Heavens, that was close." Barely dodging thanks to training with Sintre, Helion Bailey laughed wildly. "Agility won't save you today. You die." Suddenly, something struck his chest, making him stumble back several steps. Hoaji appeared with Jin Shi-san, shielding Yi Li. "Your Majesty, are you hurt?" Helion snarled. "Damn it, no time left." He leapt high, shouting, "Next time, I'll kill you all." Yi Li raised his hand. "Don't let him escape. Catch him." Ali and Ruyo rushed to block him, but Helion sneered. "You think clowns like you can stop me?" Smirking, he flicked his finger, sending a black object flying. A deafening explosion followed. Smoke engulfed everything. Everyone reflexively shut their eyes. Yila waved the smoke away, heart burning. He must not escape. Through the mist, Helion's shadow faded, vanishing into the night. Yila refused to yield. He drew his bow, aimed at the fleeing traitor. The arrow shot like lightning, burying itself in Helion Baila's butt, making him howl. Blood sprayed, painting a crimson streak through the air. His face twisted in pain, the scream both tragic and absurd. Clutching his rear, Helion growled, "Cursed Emperor, I'll be back for you." Yile shouted, "Order the Imperial Guard seal the capital. Catch Helion Bailey at all costs. Escort Huang's family safely to the palace." Soon after, Yile brought them to the prison. Huang Yu wept, hugging them tight, then confessed he'd been threatened by Tai Shen. Yile nodded coldly. "Get up. That sly fox lives for now, but I'll flay him yet. The late Emperor's treasury, you hid it, didn't you?" Huang Yu trembled. "Your Majesty is wise. It lies in the mountain near the Imperial Tome." He offered the key, swearing he'd never touched a coin. Yile rejoiced inwardly. "With this, half my problems are solved." Helping Huang Yu up, he said calmly, "I'll retrieve it. Now tell me, where did the missing funds go?" Huang Yu admitted the nobles had embezzled and faked accounts. He was ready to expose them. Yile clenched his fist, growling, "Excellent. This time I'll drag them all out. Let's see who dares steal from me." Soon after, Xia Yang reported, "Your Majesty, the gold and jewels are secured. No one noticed." Yile sprawled on the treasure, tossing bars into the air, laughing. "Good. Reward the worthy. Store the rest in my private vault." Xia Yang, "Guard it. No one enters but me." Then he called out, "Wife, come here. I've something to say." He rushed over, ordering, "Post guards around loyal ministers, and double the watch at Feng Chen House." Sintre nodded crisply. "Understood." Yili grinned proudly. "By the way, I hit Helion badly right on target today. Impressive." "Huh." Sintre smiled. "Yes, your Majesty's aim has improved." He leaned close, voice playful. "Actually, I'm good at hitting many things." Sintre blushed, but grabbed his collar, coolly saying, "Then stop talking and practice with me now." That afternoon in court, all officials knelt and chanted, "Long live the Emperor." Yet as they bowed, Yi Lei drifted into thought, sighing inwardly. "My wife's training last night was brutal. My poor royal body's done for." Just then, Xia Tang stepped out sternly, accusing Huang Yu of being the main culprit, and the officials quickly joined in the attack. Yile glanced at them, voice low, "So you all want a heavy punishment, right?" The officials chorused, "Yes, your Majesty. Please see our loyalty." Yile clapped softly, a thin smile. "Good, but that's still too gentle," he declared. "If we investigate, we go all the way. The Ministry of Revenue's loss must link to the Ministry of Works." Xia Tang, "I'll search your whole ministry. Anyone guilty goes straight to death row." Xia Tang trembled, pale, stammering, "Your Majesty, I'm innocent. I swear." Yile slammed the imperial desk, echoing through the hall. He barked, "Weren't you the one demanding strict justice? Now it's your turn and you cry fool. Think you're some celestial being?" Terrified, Xia Tang knelt. "I'm guilty. I just spoke without thinking." Yile stepped down, coldly ordering Huang Yu to take charge of the treasury and fix local deficits with full authority. Huang Yu bowed in gratitude. Yile waved his hand, voice ringing. Court dismissed. As officials left, a eunuch rushed in. "Your Majesty, General Li Zai is waiting in the study." Yile smiled. Perfect timing. In the study, Li Zai saluted, saying he came to greet the Empress Consort and the Emperor. Yile replied, "Good." I have an important mission for you, he explained. I plan to rebuild an army using the remnants of Xiao Kingdom. Lai Zai looked shocked. Rebuild the army. His heart stirred. This was his long-held dream to preserve Xiao's spirit. Yili continued, I have 1.5 million taels of gold. How many troops can that raise? Lai Zai pondered, about 200,000 men, but only enough to sustain 100,000 long-term. The costs are immense. Yili reasoned that in this age of cold steel, cavalry ruled. No matter, he said, a smaller, elite force is stronger. I want mighty troops, especially heavy cavalry. Lai Zai frowned, but heavy cavalry is costly. Each rider and horse needs armor, and our iron supply is scarce. Yili replied firmly, then start with light cavalry. 100,000 will do. You handle it. Hard times are nothing with resolve. Gold turns to iron. Then he asked, General Lai, speak freely if there's any obstacle. Lai Zai answered, Your Majesty, enemies watch us. Forming such a force is hard. I can train 1 or 2 divisions of old Xiao cavalry, but resources are the main issue. He added, just gathering enough iron for 100,000 riders is tough. Doing it in secret makes it worse. Yili said sternly, nothing is impossible. If domestic supply fails, buy from the border, even the black market, just get it done. He added, I'll handle the rest. You quietly recruit and reclaim old Zhou war horses. There's iron in the Ministry of Works, but touching it would alert the Grand Preceptor. Then he declared, some matters must stay secret for now, just follow orders, and Great Wei will rise again soon. Lai Zai, moved to tears, knelt and choked out, with your Majesty leading, Great Wei shall shine in glory once more. He kowtowed, vowing, I'll keep this secret even if it kills me. Watching him leave, Yili smiled faintly, thinking, good, phase 1 is settled. He then schemed to win over Zhuo Xian Wang to split the Turks from within. He mused, to make him cooperate, I'll need an offer too tempting to refuse. As he pondered, a sweet voice chimed, what's Emperor Gege thinking so seriously about? He looked up to see Zinai smiling, carrying hot tea. He asked gently, Zinai, what brings you here? She shyly raised the cup, cheeks pink. Uncle Li just offered top-grade tea. I couldn't wait till evening, so I brought it for Emperor Gege to taste. Yili sipped, curious, why the rush? Some secret? Zini grinned, it's a vitality tonic made with tiger bone and deer antler. Yili nearly sprayed it out. Before he could recover, Zinai lunged, tugging his robe, making Yili yelp. Zinai, this is the imperial study. She squinted playfully, whispering, that's exactly why it's fun. Inside, Yili screamed silently, heaven save me, I'm doomed again. Suddenly, he thought, every time this happens, my wife appears just in time. Without hesitation, he shouted, Suxinzai. Sure enough, Suxinzai entered, sternly saying, Your Majesty, I bring urgent news. But as she looked up, her face flushed scarlet, managing only a stunned At the scene, Xena was mid-kiss, lipstick smeared all over Yili's face. Seeing someone interrupt, she fumed silently, while Yili rejoiced, thinking, my savior's here. Moments later, Xenai huffed and stormed out. Yili straightened his robes, sighing, that little demon always torments me. Then turned, wife, what's the report? Suxinzai reported gravely, Your Majesty, a band of unknown martial wanderers entered the city at dusk and are gathering around Feng Chen Tavern. They seem ready to act. Yili clenched his teeth. As expected, they're here for revenge, damn it. Faster than I thought, he pressed. Any trace of He Lion Bailey? Suxinzai shook her head. No leads yet. Your Majesty, Yili ordered, summon the Six Fang Gate and Imperial Guards surround Feng Chen Tavern. Wu Huan, seal all 4 gates, no one escapes. Meanwhile at Feng Chen Tavern, Boss Huyen was soaking in her bath when strange noises came from outside. She frowned, calling sharply, who's there? The door burst open. He Lion Bailey entered, wearing a cold smirk of arrogance. He said Esily, don't move or they die on the spot. Huyen turned in horror to see her 2 sisters held at sword point. She gritted her teeth. Say what you want, just release them. He Lion sneered. So impulsive. Think your palace alley can stop me. You'll learn the cost. He signaled his men, blades pressing closer, steel gleaming menacingly. Huyen trembled with fury but stayed calm. What do you want? He Lion licked his sword, grinning wickedly. What do I want? Crawl here, strip, and smile for me. His laughter was mad, and her rage burned, grabbing her wrist. He hissed, I'll defile you. What then? Think the Emperor can save you? Has nothing. Huyen stared at him. Torn she could flee, but what about her sisters? Must they really suffer? Just as despair hit, a deep, regal voice thundered, I can't do anything. Bold words. 2 henchmen dropped dead with arrows through their brows. The door burst open. Yili stormed in like a storm, sneering, did you forget who that flower once bloomed for? He Lion roared, kill them all, leave no one alive. Huyen froze in shock, gasping, it's him. Outside, 6 Fan Gate troops shouted, protect the lady, no one touches her. Yili strode forward coldly. She holds my golden dragon token. He glared at He Lion. You truly have no sense of life and death touching what's mine. He Lion scoffed. Well, see who dies live this year. Next year's your death anniversary. He lunged like a beast, but another blade intercepted him. Suxinzai had stepped in. She said coolly, Your Majesty, let me capture him alive. Then added, and don't move around recklessly. Watching, Yili chuckled inwardly. As expected, my wife, true master. Suddenly remembering something, he glanced around, mumbling, "Wait, where's Hu Yan?" His eyes landed on Hu Yan, now dressed as a woman. Stunningly graceful. Yili froze. Brain blank, what the hell is this, a man or woman? Seeing his dazed stare, Hu Yan laughed teasingly. "So mesmerized, are we?" Yili reflexively blurted. "Beautiful." Freezing the air instantly, realizing what it said, he scrambled. Must be my eyes playing tricks. At that moment, a hidden dart shot straight toward Yili. In a flash, Hu Yan tackled him aside, saving him by an inch. Two masked assassins burst in, scanning the room, snarling. Where'd they go? Hu Yan yanked Yili behind a wooden shelf. His face landed against her chest, heart racing, thinking, "I'm doomed again." Unexpectedly, she twisted a vase, opening a secret door. Yili gawked. How many damn hidden chambers does this tavern have? Once inside, he exhaled, sweat beading on his brow. Regaining composure, he asked, "Boss Hu Yan, what did you just do?" Hu Yan didn't answer. She simply shoved him down hard, leaving him baffled. Then Yili froze. Shade just called him Your Majesty. Could she be the one from that day? Suddenly, Hu Yan whipped out a scarf, binding his hands in an instant. She stripped off her coat, pressed him down, and murmured, "Your Majesty, how should I punish you?" Yili could only groan. What kind of nonsense is this? Worse? He felt something soft brush against him and stammered, "What's touching me?" Hu Yan smiled slyly. "Something quite valuable," she said, lowering herself as her hand tugged his clothes. Yili paled, stammering, "Maybe we're moving too fast, perhaps discuss this later." The chaos outside, But then his eyes caught the gleam of a knife in her hand. She raised it, half smiling. "You've scared me twice. Your Majesty, let's take a little souvenir." To make it fair, Yili panicked, heart pounding, mind screaming. "Crap, think of something fast or I'm done for." Instantly, Yili got an idea, gulped, and said, "Truth is, from the first moment we met, I couldn't stop liking you." Making Hu Yan pause, murmuring, Seizing the moment, Yili teared up. "I know I've hurt you, but my feelings are real. If love had a limit, it wished to last 10,000 years. With fake sincerity, he pleaded, "Yin Nai, give me a chance, release me, and I'll spend my life atoning." Hu Yan burst out laughing, eyes glinting with amusement. It was the boldest, smoothest confession she'd ever heard. At last, she sighed, cut the ropes, her gaze mixed with curiosity and reluctant admiration. She whispered, "Go, it's probably clear outside." Yili looked at his freed hands, secretly thrilled at how well his act worked. Then she said coldly that Yili must compensate for Feng Chen Tavern's damages, 10,000 taels of silver. Yili staggered at the number, stammering, 10,000. He spun and bolted for the door, yelling excuses about the treasury being broke and promising to send Ministry of Works furniture as payment tomorrow. Just then, Su Xinzai ran up, asking worriedly. Yili, panting, brushed it off, saying he'd just discussed business with boss Hu Yan, but glancing down at his disheveled clothes, he froze. His little skylark was peeking out in front of everyone. Mortified, Yili turned beet red, silently screaming in shame, while Su Xinzai glared suspiciously and Hu Yan smirked knowingly. Seeing Su Xinzai's thunderous face, Yili hugged her to calm her down, saying to forget it. The interrogation awaited. He immediately ordered He Lion Baila brought in. Xia Yan obeyed, dragging the man in and kicking him to his knees. Even then, He Lion Bailey stayed calm. Eyes icy, voice dripping contempt, he snorted, admitting defeat but arrogantly claiming Yili wouldn't dare kill him. Furious, Yili pointed at him, shouting for him to remove that cursed mask. Memories flooded back. He Lion Bailey had once murdered Yili's two most loyal men. Rage surged. Yili's face hardened this time. He swore the traitor would not escape. Yet He Lion Bailey sneered, mocking, an emperor protecting his enemy, how laughable. Yili tore off the mask and hissed, "Your puppet master is Taechun. I don't even need to ask." He added coldly, "It'll keep you alive, just so you can taste hell before dying." 4 6-fan gate officers stepped forward, eyes taunting. One even made a lewd comment, driving He Lion Bailey into a furious fit. Desperate, he screamed for death, but Yili turned away coldly, vowing this time no mistake would be made. Suddenly, an arrow whistled down from the roof. It struck He Lion Bailey right in the head. Blood splattered as he collapsed instantly. Yili froze, mouth agape, speechless. Then he cursed aloud, "In the Emperor, and I still get hunted by criminals nonstop?" Su Xinzai stepped up, checked the body, and said solemnly, "Your Majesty is truly dead." Frustrated, Yili turned to leave, muttering coldly he'd return to court and next time bring the Imperial Guard to avoid another ambush. Soon after, Su Xinzai reported the assassin confessed He Lion Bailey was tied to a shady affair. Yili frowned, ordering an investigation. Annoyed the ministries were a mess, she accepted the order but added something more urgent, piquing Yili's curiosity. She said that next time danger struck, His Majesty needed better self-defense time for harsher training, which Yili dreaded instantly. After the training, Yili was drenched in sweat, clinging to a tree, groaning that one more round and had hit 7 times a night. Suddenly, something caught his eye. He paused, asking what was going on. Before him, Suxin gently floated candles down a stream, praying for the censor family's peace now that their names were cleared. She bowed, vowing to offer incense in their honor once Tae-chun was punished. Then a calm male voice broke the silence, advising her not to live in the past. Startled, Suksin turned around, but in shock, she slipped and fell. Yili darted forward, catching her by the waist, warning her to be careful. The moment grew awkward. Yili felt the softness in his arms, while Suksin blushed, scolding him for sneaking up and scaring her. He teased, "For spot, your alertness is awful," leaving her confused about where exactly Shed failed. She asked shyly why the emperor was alone at night. Drenched in sweat, was he just training? Yili nodded, saying he'd practiced in the imperial garden, then saw her upset over the Nan clan and wondered what tie she had to them. Suksin softly said not really, just remembering them on their death anniversary. Telling the story would take too long. Yili suggested they walk and talk, maybe stop by Pingju so he could wash up after training. She hesitated but agreed. Yili, wary but seeing her somber mood, figured Shed caused no trouble. Finally, he smiled. "Let's go." Soon, they reached Pingju. Suksin sat sipping tea while Yili bathed behind a hazy screen. His thoughts tangled. How did things always end in these awkward scenes? Then Suksin began recounting how years ago the censor had sheltered her and promised her to his son, though they never met. Yili nodded in understanding, so that explained everything. He solemnly advised her to let go of the past. Just then, she peeked in, smiling. "Does your majesty need fresh water?" Yili blushed furiously. "No need, I'm done." Suksin murmured oh, then calmly approached the clothes, glancing playfully, implying she could help him dress. Yili froze, utterly defeated, standing bare while she acted like it was nothing. After a brief struggle, he had no choice but to let her help. Once finished, she said coolly, "Story told, bath done." Then she suddenly asked, "So where's my reward?" Making Yili jump, flailing like a fish in hot oil. He babbled that there were plenty of joys in life, no need to worry about that one. But Suksin narrowed her eyes, thinking, I put in too much effort. If he keeps dodging, I won't let this plan fail. Thinking so, she said nothing more and suddenly threw herself into Yili's arms. In that instant, Yili froze stiff, completely unsure how to react. Outside, a rooster crowed, dawn breaking and shattering the sultry silence. Yili panicked, thinking, this isn't good. She's not a princess. I must not act rashly. While trying to pull away, he bolted for the door, stammering that urgent business awaited him. Left alone, Suksin bit her lip, eyes burning with resolve. Next time, she'd make him surrender. Thus the long night passed in silence, heavy with tangled emotions. The next morning, Yili dragged his weary body to court, sighing that being emperor was harder than being an ox. Huang Yu reported that 70% of the funds had been distributed, the rest to follow in 3 days, secretly admiring His Majesty's diligence. Hearing that, Yili brightened, praised Huang Yu, and proposed casting a bronze statue of Guanyin, partly to test Tae-chun's reaction. Xia Tang quickly flattered him for his devotion to the realm, and Yili nodded, assigning the ministries to prepare iron, bronze, and funds. Xia Tang's eyes widened. Why did but a statue need iron and bronze? Yili declared grandly, to make it last 1,000 years. Stone is weak, bronze endures and blesses eternity. But Tae-chun interrupted, warning that the empire's bronze reserves were nearly empty. Yili snapped, accusing him of fretting over nothing, then slyly mused, perhaps Tae-chun was hoarding more than the Ministry of Works. Inwardly, he smirked. Trap sprung. Xia Tang tried to defend himself, saying half the medals went to the army yearly, and even offered an audit on the spot. Seeing his false confidence, Yili smiled inwardly, pretending to praise him, which made Xia Tang bow gratefully. Yili continued, but Tae-chun once reported only 200,000 jin left, prompting Xia Tang to nod hastily, claiming even less remained. Tae-chun leaned in, hissing, when did I ever report that, you fool, has baiting you, leaving Xia Tang pale as chalk. Yili smiled kindly, tilting his chin up, so only 20,000 jin? Yes, making Xia Tang speechless inside. Before he could react, Yili patted his shoulder cheerfully. If a big statue's impossible, make a small one. Deliver the iron in 3 days. Cold sweat drenched Xia Tang as Tae-chun stood frozen. As Yili turned to leave, Xia Tang called out weakly, words trembling into silence. Only one thought echoed in his mind: if he couldn't deliver that medal, not only would he lose his post, the ministry might collapse, dragging the court with it. Meanwhile, Yili leaned back comfortably, casually asking Xia, aching for opinions, already certain that the medal would arrive. Tears or not, Xia Tang wiped his sweat, forcing a shaky smile and muttering agreement. Yili waved them off with calm authority. Court dismissed. Outside, meeting Suksinja, he grinned, but that old fox tastes fuming. Huh! She looked at him proudly, saying the emperor had truly grown wiser. Yili sighed, worrying that 20,000 jin of iron wouldn't be enough for the army, and now Tae-chun would surely be wary. Suksinzai suggested buying smuggled metal on the black market to fool him for now. Yili considered it but fretted over finding a reliable seller. Suksin reminded him that Huyan Guanyin had wide connections and once helped escort, and surely she could assist again. Yili lit up with joy and impulsively kissed Suksinzai on the cheek. She blushed, heart racing, whispering, Your Majesty. Yili cheerfully grabbed her hand. Come, wife, let's head to Fengchen Tavern. Leaving her speechless and regretting her praise, Later at Feng Chen Tavern, Yi Li and Jin Shizhen climbed the stairs upon hearing reports linking missing workers to a merchant named Shen. He waved it off, still sulking that his wife had slipped away. At the hall, a maid bowed, saying Boss Huyen was with guests and asked His Majesty to wait. Before she finished, a servant from the Shen estate barged in, shoving her aside and yelling, "Our young master has booked the place no one enters." He even jabbed a finger at Yila's face, barking for him to leave. Yili snapped, landing a blazing punch and roaring, "Get lost! What kind of dog dares bark in my domain?" The man clutched his face but still screamed, "I'm from the Shen clan. Our young master's inside, you're dead." Yili sneered, kicking him again. "Shen clan means nothing to me." Just then, Shen Tian, son of the wealthy Shen merchant, stepped out coldly. "How dare you strike my man who gave you permission?" Nearby, Huyen helped the fallen girl up, glaring icily at the Shen men. "You even dare touch my staff?" Yili and Shen Qi now stood face-to-face, their stares crackling like lightning. Yili didn't bother replying, he just kicked the servant again, making Shen Qi tremble with rage, shouting, "Who are you to defy the Shen heir?" Huyen cut in coolly, "Your man attacked mine first. This gentleman is an honored guest, leave at once." Shen Qi squinted, replying, "Fine, my man was wrong, I'll handle him. But the Shen family's honor is untouchable." Huyen smirked, "Has my friend touch him and you court disaster?" Standing beside her, Yili quietly raised a middle finger, thinking, "Bold kid defending me in public like that." Yili patted Huyen's shoulder with a faint smile. "It's fine, let me handle this." The sight enraged Shen Qi, he pointed furiously, "Take your filthy hand off her." Yili grinned, not only refusing but pressing closer, taunting, "Nope, what will you do about it?" Shen Qi clenched his teeth, glaring at Huyen. "You really side with him?" She replied calmly, "Young Master Shen, this matter isn't yours to meddle in." Shaking with anger, he spat that she was a fake pure maiden unworthy of him, then threatened vengeance before storming off. Yili finally lost patience, slamming a punch into his face, shouting, "Cheap narcissist. Spouting nonsense, I despise fakes like you most of all." Shen Qi screams as the son of Shen Wenjin, the richest merchant in the capital, and threatens death to anyone who dares hit him. Yili freezes, recalls intel about a shady tycoon, and realizes this is the target. Without hesitation, he orders, "Sixven Gate, seize him." His men rush in, pinning Shen Qi like a criminal dragged to public execution. Hudayan giggles, nudging Yili playfully about his heroic act, making him blush and cough awkwardly. She teases, "Jealous, aren't you?" Yili denies it, claiming the guy's been pestering her for ages, then quickly changes the subject. He says they need a massive iron supply, secretly and off-record, stunning Hudayan at his boldness. Yili smirked, "As long as you know, I know," making Hudayan laugh at his rare bluntness. She recalls Shen Qishan's father, Shen Wenjin, controls some iron and has ties to the Ministry of Works. Yili grins perfect lead. He decides to plan next steps, tells Hudayan to buy up all remaining iron, and gives her one vital instruction. He stresses secrecy, too many eyes are on her now. Hudayan nods solemnly. Later, under the moonlight, Yili leaves Feng Chen house for the palace, meeting Sinze. He excitedly recounts the day's events like a kid bragging about his victory, grinning smugly. He asks, "Wife, wasn't I awesome today?" Just then, a guard reports Shen Wenjin seeks audience, bringing wagons of gold and silver. Yili laughs at the coincidence. He accepts the gifts, coldly says, "I get your message. Leave," then orders news spread that in 7 days hell take Shen Wenjin's son's head as warning. Sinzai frowns, asking why not arrest Shen Wenjin. Yili replies that would alert the snakes, better let Sixven Gate tail him. He adds, "For now, interrogate Shen Qin thoroughly. Maybe he'll spill something useful." Next morning, Xia Yang reports dejectedly nothing useful came from Shen Qian. Sinzai adds Shen Wenjin went to Tai Chun's mansion after leaving the palace and hasn't moved since. Yili taps the table, smirking, "That old fox must have teamed with Tai Chun." Final dig from the missing laborers case. Meanwhile, in Sanlai Alley, a cheerful girl named Xiao Fu hangs laundry, introducing her sister Xiao Lion. The two sisters, motherless since childhood, survive by washing in odd jobs. On their way home, a sleazy man blocks them, flirting shamelessly, a scene all too familiar. He sneers, "Life's tough. Huh, come with me 2 taels a night." Xiao Lion folds her arms, coolly replying, "Too cheap, 10 taels at least." She adds, "Only half the night. Extra for groups. Pay up front, don't end up like those who didn't." The man curses, "You insolent brat." Xiao Fu gently pulls her sister away, saying softly but firmly, "Ignore him. Let's go home." The creep moves closer, asking slyly what she said. Since Xiao Fu speaks softly, Lion Eye always translates for her sister. Lion Eye boldly declares, "She said pay for 6 nights up front, and well throw in 1 free head. My dad'll skin you alive." Right then, their father appears and yanks the thug by the hair. Terrified, the man flees barefoot, while Lion Eye waves after him, shouting, "Bring more money next time if you want flute music too." Xiao Fu can only sweat, unsure whether to laugh or cry at her sister. Months later, their father leaves again to work far away, but after 3 months without word, that same scumbag barges in, kicking the door open, grinning vilely. He says their father's probably dead and offers to take care of them both. Lion Eye snaps back. "Together, only for your funeral." Xiao Fu pulls her sister aside, whispering to stop arguing, but the thug explodes, pulling a knife and snarling, "Refuse the toast." Huh! Xiaofu hugs her sister in terror, thinking this time they're doomed, but she freezes mid-scream as a familiar figure steps forward. Yili blocks their path, coldly saying, "Words won't protect your sister." The thug roars, "Who the hell are you to butt in?" Yili answers with a thunderous slap, clutching his face. The man yells his boss knows people in the Ministry of Justice and threatens Yili with death. Yili casually stomps him flat, pressing his head down like squashing a bun. He shouts, "Shut up," and orders, "Take him away." Meanwhile, Xiaofu stands dazed, blushing and flustered at her unexpected savior. Yili, proud of himself, thinks, born to be a hero rescuing beauties even when on a missing labor case. But when he looks closely at Lion, he freezes, mind flashing with disbelief. Why does this girl look just like my sister? He wonders, heart uneasy. Suddenly, he sternly asks, "How many steps to put an elephant in a fridge?" Lion glares, "What nonsense are you stupid?" Yili just laughs, relieved that at least she only looks like his sister, not thinks like her. Xiaofu steps forward shyly to thank him, voice barely audible. Yili tilts his head, mishearing, and mutters, "Truly big no. Truly white, truly beautiful lady." She blushes harder, softly asking his name so she can remember her savior. Yili, not catching her quiet voice, asks again, "What did you say?" While Lion Nai starts piecing things together, with a mischievous grin, she blurts something that stuns them both. "My sister Xiaofu, unmarried, want to marry her." Xiaofu panics, waving frantically, "Nope, just thanks." Yili rubs his head, laughing awkwardly, just doing the heroic thing, though thinking her voice now sounds much clearer. Yili sternly asks about missing labor. Xiaofu nods, saying her father left 3 months ago for work and vanished since. Lion Nai cuts in, saying her sister believes their father is who is looking for her. But how could an outsider know that? Yili reassures them he just wants clues about their father, then chuckles, "You two are equally hard to handle." Xiaofu explains their father owed debts from treating their mother and took a job offered by Yang Li at Changqing Casino for high pay. Lion Nai frowns, "Didn't my sister tell you everything? Why dig so deep?" Yili thinks, "Changqing Casino looks like the lead found me first." He orders, "Go to Changqing Casino, investigate everyone involved." Watching him leave, Xiaofu feels oddly heavy-hearted, not wanting him to go. As she stands frozen, Yili turns back, hands them a pouch of silver, tells them to repay debts, promises to find their father, and wishes them peace. Xiaofu blushes, refusing politely, though her heart trembles at his kindness. Before she can finish, Lion snatches the pouch, grinning and thanking him nonstop. Xiaofu turns red with protest, but Lion hugs the pouch happily, making Yili laugh softly with a thoughtful gaze. Then he quietly returns to his residence, lost in unfinished thoughts. Suddenly, Xiaofu runs up, giving him a small pendant as a token of heartfelt gratitude. Lion quickly translates, claiming its thanks from both sisters. Yili smiles, thinking this little imp is both a headache and a heartwarmer. Just then, a soldier reports Yang Li has been captured. Yili, surprised, orders to move immediately. In the palace prison, Yang Li drunkenly mumbles, demanding more wine. Yili steps up and splashes a bucket of cold water straight into his face. He growls, "Wake up, do you know where you are?" The man panics, and Yili forces him to confess where the Balai street workers were taken. Yang Li turns pale, trembling, denying any knowledge. Yili slams him with a hard punch, voice icy. Try denying again. In pain, Yang Li breaks, saying he only escorted them to a gathering point and knew nothing afterward. Yili snaps, "Then why didn't you go work there yourself?" Shaking, Yang Li says it was Linji Wharf, where a man named Qjia paid him 5 coins per head. Yili furiously demands more. He stammers that around 500 were sent, 1 shipment every 10 days, and Qjia will return in 2 days on a tiger-marked boat. Yili's eyes blaze. He orders a full ambush at Linji Wharf, swearing to capture Qjia and save the captives. Yang Li collapses, begging for mercy, claiming he's told all. Yili ignores him, kicks him aside, and orders him locked in the death cell. Soon, Suxin Zai enters, urging him to calm down since the trail is clear. Yili sighs, steadies himself, and starts planning the next mission. Yili recalls the weapon molds lie with the Ministry of Works. Using them would expose plans to Taechun. He curses the treacherous officials under his breath. He decides to handle it himself, asks Suxin Zai if anyone skilled enough can forge weapon molds. She recalls Lu Zi, a reclusive blacksmith in the capital, a master craftsman but stubborn as stone. The man ignores all persuasion, impossible to sway even a word. Yili smiles, saying every human has a weakness. Suxin Zai believes he'll find it. Hearing that Lu Fuzi is madly addicted to gambling, Yili's eyes gleam. Gambling? Huh, easy. Grinning slyly, he drags her to the study, claiming he'll make that blacksmith come beg to meet him. Suxin Zai watches curiously as he sketches, utterly puzzled what on earth is that. Yili proudly waves the paper, beaming, "Done. Behold my masterpiece." She squints and makes out a bizarre weapon, a double-edged great blade, a zhang long and 15 jin heavy. Yili eagerly explains that one swing could down charging horses. Mowing enemies like grass only refined steel could forge it. Still confused, Suxinzai asks what it is. Yili confidently declares it the pulse blade, king of weapons, and says he sent the blueprint to lure Lu Fuzi out. She eyes him suspiciously, wondering how he knew such a thing. Yili laughs awkwardly, saying just to deliver it he can't reveal it came from an ancient manual. Suddenly, shouts sound outside calling for his majesty. Lu Fuzi bursts in like a storm, panting yet bowing deeply, thanking profusely. Yili rushes to lift him, smiling kindly. Master, please, no need for such ceremony. Trembling, Lu Fuzi praises the design's brilliance and offers 1,000 taels of his fortune to build it for the court. Yili is stunned yet delighted, thinking fate truly sent him this generous genius. Outwardly calm, he clasps Lu Fuzi's hands in thanks, saying he seeks only friendship, moving the old man nearly to tears. But Lu Fuzi cautiously adds the design seems incomplete and begs to see the rest, insisting Yili still accept the silver. Yili smiles, promising to finish the drawing tomorrow, refuses the money but asks his help with another task. Lu Fuzi readily agrees. Yili gravely explains he needs molds for key weapons, steel-saving yet durable. Finished fast, Lu Fuzi accepts without hesitation. Though inwardly uneasy that the emperor bypassed the ministry sign of looming turmoil, Yili immediately orders Xia Yang to escort Lu Fuzi to the palace forge, commanding full focus and no slacking. Once arranged, he turns to Suxinzai, eyes bright with excitement, saying tomorrow they'll seek the hidden exit together. She asks in surprise, but he smirks, saying it's nothing serious. The so-called Qujia isn't worth worry. At dawn, two figures appear silently at Linji Wharf, rugged yet sharpied with killing intent. Yili narrows his gaze, spotting boats marked with a deer sigil, smirks, right place, and orders Xia Yang to seal the wharf tight, leaving no gaps. Yili tells Ren Yao to follow him onto the boat. The man just nods silently. Aboard, they find overlapping footprints and a messy deck as if a chase just happened. Yili kneels, spotting dried blood among the prints, proof of a fight, his guard rising. Just then someone shouts, Xiao Nan, someone's coming. A guard orders them off. Yili calmly introduces himself as Yi San, seeking Qujia. Xiao Nan scowls coldly. Qujia sees no guests. Get lost. Yili feigns regret, sighing, oh well, losing a big deal is your loss. Hearing big deal, another voice interrupts, asking what deal, and Yili grins inwardly, hook-baited. Turning, he sees the speaker as Qujia himself and smiles coolly, confirming his identity and starting negotiations. The talk grows tense. Qujia bluntly asks how many people Yili holds and where. Yili stays calm. Raising a brow, he replies slyly, you mean to buy 52? Acting mysterious, he claims to have 3,000 but wants a higher price. Qujia snaps, 2,000. Yili freezes briefly but agrees without flinching. He lies that they're hidden in an abandoned West City house with a secret room. Just come claim them. Qujia believes it, orders Xiao Nan to host him aboard, promising payment after delivery, knowing refusal would raise suspicion. Yili follows, mentally plotting escape routes. Inside, Xiao Nan's face darkens, murderous intent gleams in his eyes. Yili senses danger, turns to question him, but before finishing, Xiao Nan lunges, grabbing his throat with crushing force. Roaring, he demands, what did you do to my daughter? Why was her trinket with you? Ren Yao instantly draws his sword to the man's neck, but Suxinzai signals to stop, making Xiao Nan hesitate and ask who they are and how they got in. Coughing, Yili wheezes, you're the father of the two Xiao girls. Hearing that, Xiao Nan grows more furious, tightening his grip and shouting for their whereabouts. Struggling for breath, Yili forces out that as an imperial investigator, saved the girls from harassment, and kept their keepsake as proof. Xiao Nan narrows his eyes, skeptical since when are court men decent? Sounds fishy. Yili grins, swearing on his honor, recounting the girl's details so precisely that Xiao Nan finally loosens his hold. Yili silently marvels at his monstrous strength. Xiao Nan explains he was indeed taken for labor, but Qujia found him useful and made him a subordinate, promising release after a year, a lie Yili finds suspicious for such a strong man. Furious, Xiao Nan says he once served 5 years as a soldier, fighting for the nation, only for a foolish emperor to let heroes become slaves. He rants that corrupt officials thrive while honest folks starve, forcing men like him into hard labor just to live. Hearing this, Suxinzai nods empathetically, while Yili rubs his temples, thinking, damn, the original me made too many enemies. Just as voices outside call, and Xiao Nan quickly replies, all good, I'm coming. Once safe, Xiao Nan whispers that he still believes some good remains in the court and warns the hand signal from Qujia was fake, a test. He gravely adds they've been exposed and Qujia will strike soon. Before leaving, Yili nods gratefully, admiring the man's rough loyalty. Yili then tells Ren Yao to slip out and alert Xiao Yan to launch a pincer attack. Ren Yao smirks, saying no lock ever stopped him. He even brags about being a lockpicking flower thief and swimming expert since women are water, leaving Yili speechless. After Ren Yao leaves, Suxinzai bolts the door and softly tells her husband not to mind the fool's nonsense. Yili grips her shoulders gently, promising to right past wrongs and recalling their 3 vows, making her smile with trust. Soon footsteps sound. Qujia appears with a servant and wine girl. Voice honeyed, young master, let's drink to our partnership. Yili smiles politely, asking if it's not too early. Qujia smirks, not early, my men are fetching the goods. silver ready when they return. His gaze sharpens as he coaxes, "Work with me and you'll profit. Drink." Yili keeps his smile, secretly counting time, casually asking where the 3,000 laborers will be sent. Waiting for Xia Yang's signal, Qijia's tone chills. "You ask too much. Meddling's dangerous." Suspicion creeping in. Suddenly Yili slams the table, voice cutting. "Whose side are you really on?" Qijia sneers back. "You don't even know my code. Or are you the court's bait?" He hesitates a beat. "How did this flip so fast?" He growls. "Your code's strange, explain it." Yili waves him closer. "Come," ill whisper. Qijia leans in whirly. Yili bends as if to murmur, then shouts, "I'm your father." Instantly he splashes wine full in Qijia's face, drenching him in shock and humiliation. Red with rage, Qijia screams, "Kill them! Feed these dogs to the fish!" His men charge. The deck trembles with pounding feet. Yili fans the first attacker straight in the face, flooring him. Suxin Zai follows with a clean kick, dropping another. Qijia panics, spinning to flee, mind screaming, "I've provoked monsters," but he crashes into Xia Yang, blocking the gangplank, voice cold as steel. "Escape? Not today." Seeing the Imperial Guard armor, Qijia freezes pale, whispering, "I'm done for." Xiao Nan exhales in relief. "It's over. The court moves fast. Time to go home to my girls." Suddenly Yili bellows, "Hey, wake up, get up." He shakes Qijia hard, but the man lies limp, either unconscious or faking death. Finally Qijia blinks open, dazed and confused. Spotting Yili, he stammers, "Yai, who are you?" Yili arches a brow, voice icy, "You're asking who this emperor is?" Xiao Nan hears this, jaw dropping. "Is the current emperor." Yili grabs Qijia's beard and snarls, "Who do you work for? Where are the 3,000 laborers?" The man sweats and blurts, "Dongshan. They're all sent there." Suxin Zai explains softly, "Your Majesty, Dongshan's a barren mountain, no villages, no inns. Rumors say there's an iron mine." Yili, connecting every clue, without delay, he orders, "Imprison him." Xia Yang, take the secret command token and deploy Imperial guards toward Dongshan. The rest, move out with me. Xia Nan steps up firmly. The path to Dongshan cuts through dense forests. "I know the way, let me lead." His gaze darkens with grief and hate. "If the court hadn't taxed us dry, my wife wouldn't have died sick. If you truly are emperor, you'll settle that debt." Yili forces a smile, inwardly alert to the threat, but nods in agreement. Soon the group reaches the foot of the shadowed, silent Dongshan range, standing on a rock. Yili scans the forest. "A mine needs thousands of workers. Why is it so quiet?" Senior Xiao, "Sure you've got the path." Xia Nan snorts, "Sure. Strange though, you pampered officials crawling into hardship. Maybe those folks volunteered." Yili calmly replies, "Ever heard water carries the boat but can also sink it? The people or water press them too far, and the boat will capsize." Xia Nan pauses, a flicker of respect stirring his not like the Throniziters I despised. Just as Yili starts to speak again, he trips on a rock and nearly falls, saved by Suxin Zai's quick catch. Blushing, he chuckles. "Thanks, wife, you're amazing," making Xiao Nan cringe and think, "What kind of emperor is this?" Suddenly a strange rumble echoes from underground. Yili frowns. What was that sound? Not far off, cries of a mother and child begging for the captured husband pierce the air. Thugs mock them, kicking them aside, sneering the man's been long dead. In despair, the wife shakily offers her last coins, hoping to buy a shred of mercy. The leader sneers, grabbing her collar with filthy intent. She screams in terror. A dart whizzes through the air, piercing his eye and dropping him instantly. Yili roars in fury, demanding if they'd sold their souls to the dogs. Enraged, the wounded thug shrieks for his men to kill them all and skin whoever interfered. Yili grits his teeth, declaring they'll taste divine retribution. Xiao Nan places a cold hand on his shoulder, meeting his gaze. Xiao Nan nods and mutters that his daughters once faced the same fate, only heaven spared them. Rage flares in him. He growls, "No need to lift a hand, those two are mine." He exhales a poisonous mist within moments. The thugs convulse and collapse, foaming at the mouth. Yili steps forward, hands the mother a pouch of silver, urging her to flee with her child before the scum return. But the woman weeps, shaking her head, begging him to save her husband instead of taking the money. Hearing this, Xiao Nan's face darkens, suspecting his own wife died the same way, and he vows to help them to the end. He mused that in chaotic times, the powerless were like grass born to be trampled. Yili stomped on the wounded man's chest, demanding the base's location with icy precision, trembling in pain. The man confessed over 500 guards and tens of thousands of enslaved laborers on the mountain, more than 10,000 forced to mine iron, an unspeakable horror unknown to the outside world. Yili glanced at Suxin Zai, ordering the captives to draw a map. One wrong stroke meant death. He wondered what profit chain enslaved thousands and who the true mastermind was. Yili thanked Xiao Nian for his help and urged him to reunite with his son. They could handle the rest. Unexpectedly, Xiao Nian snapped, asking why a saintly ruler like him let others' families die unjustly, leaving him stammering. Calmly, Xiao Nian said had joined to aid the suffering and to see what kind of emperor their dynasty truly had. Yili froze, shocked by the bluntness of those words. Then he laughed, blood boiling, spirit ignited, nodding to join forces in saving lives. He shouted a rallying cry, his voice echoing with fierce resolve as he ordered the march. Night fell, the distant clang of hammers on stone sent chills through the dark. Yili listened, nodding. It was indeed the sound of relentless hammering. He carefully traced the sound's direction, eyes gleaming with alertness. The group found a cave where countless souls toiled in misery, forced to dig day and night. Sweat mixed with dust, they were slaves of wartime greed. Xiaoni sighed, recalling this place once a camp, now a mountain of exploited corpses. Yili ordered scouts to summon reinforcements and keep silent until the rescue began. He asked Xiao Nian to lead the way. The old man nodded, saying lordless tent lay nearby. Moving along, faint whispers made Xiao Nian frown. He seemed to sense trouble. Meanwhile, in the camp, a soldier rushed to report strange noises outside to Lu Kan Jing. Lu Kan Deng stroked his beard, smirking. It's just patrols. Tell Lord Tak to stay sharp. Coldly, he warned the purge is near. Lord Tak must hear nothing suspicious. At the gate, 2 guards murmured about another execution at the abandoned iron mine. Before they could move, both were silently struck down. Yili gave a firm signal, go. No delays. He added that today was execution day. They must seize the maps or letters before it's too late. At once, the team scattered with deadly urgency, every heartbeat counting. Suddenly, Yili raised a paper high. Triumphant had found the mine map. Xiao Nian pointed out a familiar name. Yili looked closer, his face darkening. Gritting his teeth, he revealed it was the labor list 300 marked for execution. Stunning Xiao Nian, Yili instantly ordered Ren Yao to lead a group with the map to rescue prisoners while he charged the abandoned mine. Xiao Nian hesitated, warning to be cautious, but Yili roared that human lives couldn't wait, forcing him to grit his teeth and follow. In the mine, cries of despair echoed as laborers cursed Lu Kan for breaking promises and begged for mercy. One man trembled, warning that so much iron would soon draw the court's attention that none of them would survive. Lu Kan sneered, so what if they find out? You think you'll live to see it? His men drew blades, ready to execute the helpless workers. Heart-wrenching screams filled the darkness as hope faded. Just as the blade fell, a sword flashed through, blood sprayed. The executioner stumbled back in horror. Lu Kan flinched, yanking out his sword, eyes darting toward the cave's entrance. Heavy footsteps echoed. Yili and his comrades emerged through the dust, their killing intent suffocating. Coldly, Yili declared, these people are ours, our kin. Lu Kan face twisted as he bellowed, kill them all. Battle cries shaking the mine. Unfazed, Yili waved his hand. Ren Yao's squad charged, striking back ferociously. In moments, foes fell screaming, steel clashing in a furious rhythm. Panic seized Lu Kan drenched in sweat. He shrieked to activate the traps. Yili sensed danger, shouting, careful, they've triggered the mechanisms. Just then, a laborer spotted Xiao Nian and cried in joy, it's him. Xiao Nian's come to save us. The prisoners rose up, arming themselves, the cavern thundering with rebellion. Yili shouted, old Xiao, fall back and hold the rear, then plunge deeper into battle. Amid the chaos, he parried and yelled his thanks, his bold voice lifting everyone's spirits. He crawled toward Lu Kan ever heard of toppling fences? Tonight ill-level Dongshan? Lu Kan sneered, thinking, well, see your skill, while fretting that Lord Tak's troops hadn't arrived. Outside Dongshan at midnight, patrol clashed with Yili's forces. Tension taut as a drawn bow. The blocker, Deputy Bang Sung of the Shuangzi camp, barked that no one passed without imperial decree. He Yang raged, ready to strike, but Suk Sinzai stopped him, reasoning they'd be branded rebels if they fought now. Anxious, Yang asked for a plan. Suk Sinjai's eyes glinted as she whispered for him to watch her move. Yet before any scheme began, flames erupted from Dongshan's base. Suk Sinjai's eyes widened, heart sinking there under attack. Inside, Yili cuffed through smoke, cursing Lu Kan madness for detonating the whole mountain. Fearing Ren Yao hadn't freed the captives, meanwhile, Lu Kan coldly ordered every exit sealed. None were to leave alive. Soldiers hold out heavy weapons, the clang of steel ringing through the inferno. Tanshizhen shouted they faced suicide troops advancing, meant near certain death. Yili snarled, don't call him Lu Kan, don't call him the Mad Lu Ban. Silence fell, despair shadowed every face. They knew there was no escape left. But then, an idea flashed in Yili's mind. He couldn't just watch hundreds die in vain. Determination surged. He dashed forward, ready to act before everything collapsed. Drawing a deep breath, he shouted through the flames, listen to me, don't be afraid. I am Emperor Yili of Great Yuan. Dongshan once held 13,000 laborers, 12,000 died unjustly. Families shattered, children orphaned. Xianyan froze, stunned that he'd reveal himself amid hellfire. The laborers stared, stammering in disbelief that this man was truly the emperor. Yili's voice rang firm, the people are the root, the ruler serves them. Their suffering is my fault if I don't amend it. Am unworthy of the throne. Fight with me, those ahead, clear the path for those behind. Ill lead, never retreat. If I falter, kill me. Silence fell. Then Xiaonian rose, proclaiming that this was indeed their righteous emperor of old. He cried, we fear not death, only dying for nothing. Your majesty can still change this land, remember the children waiting to live. The crowd trembled, shouting in unison, spirits blazing. At last, all roared together, well, die for the emperor. Die for our nation. The chant thundered louder than the mountain's explosions. Xiao Nian turned the allies, sternly ordering them to guard the emperor well. Then he gripped his staff and shouted, "Anyone who can still fight, follow me." Yilai screamed, "Elder Xiao, stop!" in panic, but it was too late. Xiao Nian and his men charged through fire, carving a bloody path. When the final clash faded, they had won, but a devastating cost. Xiao Nian had fallen. "Old Xiao, what's happened to you?" Yili knelt beside him, voice trembling. On blood-soaked ground, Xiao Nian lay lifeless, wounds deep, breath fading to nothing. After a moment, Yili exhaled heavily, ordered the others to rest, then told Tan Shizhen, "I'll go after him." Tan Shizhen tried to stop him, fearing Luca and Daneng's traps, but Yili only said, "I'll adapt, I won't let their sacrifice be wasted." Then he sprinted off, eyes fixed on the footprints ahead, heart pounding. Soon, he halted before a massive stone door, breathing hard. Through a crack, he saw Lucan Ding sneaking inside, face full of schemes. Following him, Yili discovered a chamber crammed with corpses and choking stench. Lucan Ding gleefully opened a golden chest, muttering that M1 Jin mustn't get any share. The name stunned Yili. He blurted, "The M1 Jin?" Lucan Jig spun around in shock. Before he could speak, Yili grabbed his collar, eyes like blades. "Who is the M1 Jin?" Trembling, he stammered that he only followed orders, that the M1 Jin was the mastermind, and cowardly begged to share the gold and escape. Yili hurled the gold bars to the ground, voice cold as ice. "Take it with you to hell." He snarled, "Can gold buy back their lives?" Then he crushed the man's hand, breaking a finger, rage shaking his voice. "How many have you murdered?" Lucan Deng laughed maniacally. "Just vermin, who cares if they die?" Yili's fury exploded. He slammed a thunderous punch and roared, "Then pay your debt to those vermin now." Dawn rose over Dongshan. Smoke faded, leaving only ashes and the iron scent of blood. Suxinzai asked the soldiers anxiously if the emperor was safe after the all-night blaze. They replied the fire was out. Suddenly, faint coughing echoed through the mist. Cough, cough. Suxinzai's eyes lit up as if she had found her most precious treasure again. Yilai emerged slowly, smiling faintly, still cloaked in smoke, unable to hold back. Suxinzai rushed to support him, voice trembling. "Your Majesty, are you alright?" she whispered, eyes brimming with tears. He smiled weakly, then collapsed against her shoulder. Hayang arrived, alarmed. "What happened to His Majesty?" Suxinzai replied softly, "He's fine, just asleep." Later, under the shaded trees, birds chirped gently in the morning calm. Yilai stirred and murmured a name. Suxinzai bent down, smiling tenderly. "Your Majesty, you're awake." Blinking, Yilai suddenly bolted upright, sweat glistening on his brow. Grabbing her shoulders, he asked urgently, "The 6th Division guards the mine, what's the status?" She answered quickly that Ren Yao had saved everyone, with only minor injuries. Yila's voice grew heavy. "I see." Suxinzai gently consoled, saying he had already done enough. He shook his head, sighing deeply. Eyes shadowed in silence. Suddenly, a voice broke the stillness. "If His Majesty is awake, please come out to judge a matter." Yili frowned, his tone turning cold. It was the deputy Bang Sung waiting outside. He turned to Suxinzai, asking, "Wife, who is he?" She explained he was from Shuangzi camp under Commander Tai Shu, led by Bang Sung. She added that last night they'd been blocked for lacking documents. Only Madame Hu Jiang's golden dragon token let them pass. Yet she frowned, noting they'd still followed all the way here. Yili thought briefly, then nodded, deciding to face them directly. Confronting him, Yili asked icily, "Disappointed I survived? That Dongshan didn't fall to you?" Bang Sung paled and waved frantically. "No, Your Majesty misunderstands. I only feared the Jinwu Guard's movements might spark chaos. I am loyal." Yila's fury flared. He kicked hard, shouting, "Loyal? You marched opposite the capital. You were shielding Dongshan. Admit it." Trembling, Bang Sung pleaded, "Your Majesty, I only followed protocol without orders. Jinwu Guard cannot leave the city. I knew nothing of Dongshan." Narrowing his eyes, Yili grabbed his collar, thinking the disciplined Shuangzi troops wouldn't block him without cause. He growled, "If I find the truth, you're dead." Bang Sung boldly replied, "If guilty, you'll die by your hand." Suddenly, a pale, trembling arm stretched from the ashes. Everyone froze in horror. It was Lucan Dang, somehow alive, crawling out drenched in blood. Yili stiffened. "Still alive?" Bang Sung turned ghostly white. Panicking, "Damn it, a living witness." Yili barked, "A Yang, seize him." But before he finished, a figure lunged forward. Bang Sung suddenly grabbed Lu Kandan's neck and snapped it clean, swift and brutal. Leaving all speechless, dropping to his knees, he hastily explained, "Your Majesty, he tried to attack you, saw. I only struck first to protect you." Yili chuckled darkly. "Well done, typical Shuanzi camp style. Murdering before my eyes and still lying about it." Suxinzai stepped forward, offering a sword with respectful silence. Yili drew the blade, its gleam reflecting his fury as he shouted, "Have you all forgotten whose empire this is, alive or dead?" Lucan Ding's fate is mine to decide. Bang Sung panicked, crying, "Your Majesty, I only sought your safety. If you kill me, the army's spirit will shatter." But Yili didn't listen. His gaze was cold as frost. Bang Sung's pleading eyes rolled back. He collapsed unconscious on the spot. "Guards, drag this coward out, and the whole Shuangzi camp. Get out of my sight." Yile roared, sending the soldiers fleeing in chaos. He turned to He Yang, voice steady but stern. You meant well last night, but you almost ruined everything. He continued firmly. Next time, strike first. I'll back you, no one will dare touch you. He Yang bowed, trembling. I'll remember, your majesty. Awe and fear swelled in him. His emperor had changed, now fiercer and more decisive than ever. Yili helped him up. Softer now. Stand. We return to the capital. Every iron ore from that mine goes to the palace. No one touches it without my command. Then Yili and Suk Sinzai journeyed back. A soldier knelt joyfully. Your majesty, you've returned safely at last. At that moment, a servant presented a letter from Madame Huyen of Fengshan Pavilion. Your majesty. Yili raised a brow, reading it, murmuring. She's inviting me herself, Su Sinzai said calmly. Likely news about the mine. She's helped much lately. Yili nodded. Indeed, I should thank her properly. That afternoon, he arrived at the back garden of Fengshan Pavilion, calling, Madame Huyen, your emperor is here. Curious, he lifted the pink silk curtain, appearing inside where candlelight shimmered through thin smoke. Madame Huyen sat waiting, radiant, mysterious as ever. Suddenly, her soft hand brushed his cheek, her breath warm against his skin. My lord seems burdened tonight. Shall I help ease it? She purred silkily. Yile blushed, stammering so badly he sounded like a fish out of water. Huyen smiled slyly, whispering, You're thinking of Dong Shan, aren't you? Your majesty. He nodded instinctively, only then realizing she had used his title. Her smile deepened, fingers entwined with his as she leaned closer. Both slipped, tumbling into the pond with a splash and startled cries. Drenched and dazed, Yili sputtered. Wait, what just? Huyen said softly. I may run a small house, but I know one thing: the world shouldn't rest on one man's shoulders. Meeting his eyes, she spoke slowly. Storms forge strength. The people live through the virtuous. Your majesty must stop blaming yourself. If you fall to guilt, there have no one left to follow. Her words struck him. He nodded firmly, eyes regaining their light. He laughed. Right, in the heaven-chosen protagonist trials are destiny. Huyen froze, thinking, protagonist? What nonsense is that? She sighed, smiling. Fine, since you're clear-headed again, let's talk business. Then she coyly complained about her troubles delivering the token, half-jokingly asking Yili to massage her feet as payment. Yili blushed furiously, stammering uselessly, unsure how to respond. She pouted, pretending to withdraw vital news, prompting Yili to panic and agree to the massage instantly. He muttered, stay calm, covering his mouth as if afraid he might lose control. Yet the more he tried, the redder his face grew, eyes darting anywhere but at her. Huyen watched, doubtful. Could this little emperor really still be a virgin? Then she teased, this spot of mine H's too, would the young lord care to rub it? Yili jolted like struck by lightning, blurting he'd call someone else, retreating as if from fire. Laughing, she stopped teasing and spoke seriously. Shed found a new iron source, though perhaps it was no longer needed. Then she added her news involved Shen Wenjin, who kept a concubine barely 18. She showed a portrait of the girl, Hong Xing, his beloved, making Yili curse under his breath. The girl now lived in Li Hoa Hall, guarded so tightly even Huyen couldn't get near, so Yili asked if the girl ever went out or had habits that made tracking her easier. Huyen said she adored listening to courtesans sing at Liu Yi Pavilion. Yili instantly ordered surveillance there, watching him plan so eagerly. Huyen sighed teasingly, in such a rush already. Yili just smiled gratefully, saying he owed her a gift for her constant help. He gently placed a bracelet on her wrist, earning her amused praise for his taste. Then Yili left, instructing her to coordinate during the coming cab. Shen Wenjin. She watched him disappear. Her heart oddly stirred. Every meeting with him was unexpectedly delightful. Meanwhile, Suk Sinzai overheard young maids gossiping that Lord Lei had changed, frequenting pleasure houses. Another girl laughed that men were all the same, promises were just pretty words when they felt good. Just then, Yili's voice rang out, Wife, I'm done, let's go home. She looked up to see him drenched and panting, his disheveled look stunning her into silence. The rumors echoed in her mind. Her heart tightened. Was he also one who spoke sweetly and meant nothing? Yili stepped close, softly asking, Wife, what's wrong? His worry clear, she steadied herself, scolding her thoughts, and reported that Master Lu was waiting in the Imperial Library. Still, Yili sensed something off. Her eyes held an unspoken weight. Entering the study, he cheerfully praised Master Lu's craftsmanship, so lifelike it blurred truth and falsehood. He then fulfilled his promise, handing the second half of the mech blade forging method to Elder Jiang. Helping Master Lu up, he earnestly vowed to forge blades that would awe the world and sought his aid. Deeply moved, Master Lu bowed, pledging his last breath in service if trusted by the Emperor. Yili placed a hand on his shoulder, solemnly assigning him to build a secret forge near Honglang with royal guards for full secrecy. With tasks done, Yili happily returned to find his wife, smiling. Wife, it went perfectly, let's head home. But he stopped short. She sat blankly, eyes distant, lost in thoughts. She couldn't speak aloud. Yili froze, mind racing wildly. Why was his wife acting so strange today? Then it hit him, those days must have come. He instantly decided this was his moment to prove his manly worth. With that thought, he bolted off, calling, Wife, wait right here. Moments later, he returned proudly, holding a steaming bowl. beaming. Wife, I'm back. He set it down smugly but yelped at the heat, puffing on it furiously as she stared, utterly puzzled. Yili boosted, red sugar water. Renyo taught me it helps women feel better during those days. Susinzai blinked, utterly lost. What days exactly? He stayed dead serious, coaxing her to drink and rest on his shoulder, promising belly rubs if she felt pain. Suddenly, she tugged his sleeve, face blazing, voice trembling with embarrassment. I am not on any days, she whispered. I was just remembering something. Yili immediately leaned in, curious. What something? As he asked, his hand unconsciously rested on her stomach soft enough to short-circuit his brain. She admitted seeing him soaked after leaving Huyen and hearing gossip about faithless men. It weighed on her heart. Yila's eyes lit up, exclaiming, Wife, you're jealous. Grabbing her hands, he swore that his old promise wasn't impulse, but sincerity that he'd love her forever. Her face flushed deep crimson, heart trembling from the sudden warmth in his words. He vowed that in this fickle world, he'd stay loyal and protect her for life. He tightened his grip, promising she'd never know betrayal or sorrow again. Then he leaned down, kissing her softly sweet, but burning with passion. She gently pushed him back, cheeks aflame, gasping that she wasn't ready yet. Yilai smiled tenderly, promising to wait and to keep their 3 vows with all his heart. Her gaze softened, emotions shimmering unspoken between them. He coaxed her to drink the soup, saying he'd step out so she could rest. As the door closed, Susinzai murmured, Why am I so flustered like this? Outside, Yilai sighed, feeling like a drenched rooster after a cold bucket to the face. He muttered. That emotional U-turn was faster than a lightning strike. Scratching his head in frustration, he fumed, not sure how to vent. Then inspiration struck. He thought of Lady Suoxin, who'd wanted a spar, and decided to visit her to blow off steam. Meanwhile, Lady Suoxin was enjoying a very private evening alone. One hand held a whip, the other a candle, her robes loose enough for disaster. She spun gracefully, silk ribbons wrapping her body bold and wild like a butterfly in the storm, but too caught up in the act. She tripped, rolling across the floor tangled in fabric. Curled up, she murmured sleepily, Let's see if His Majesty escapes this time. Then exhaustion took her. She fell asleep in that knot of chaos. Outside, Yili inhaled sharply. Cold night. Huh, good. Keeps the mind clear for spy talk. Thinking that, he pushed the door open, calling firmly, Lady Suoxin, what's the situation at the Shen estate? But the sight before him made his heart nearly burst. So much for calm, it evaporated instantly. Before him, Tuoxin struggled in tight ropes, clothes barely hanging on. She fumbled with the ropes, gasping that she had spies in the Shen manor. Just hurry and untee her. It's too tight. Daili gawked, blurting out how she ended up like this. She blushed, admitting she had tried to seduce His Majesty but ended up tying herself up instead. Daili froze, battling his conscience. If he didn't help, she'd be in trouble. This was purely rescue, nothing else. With a deep breath, he stepped forward and started untying her, trying to look solemn. After 2 loops undone, his face burned red, heart pounding, muttering for her not to make a sound. She bit her lip, panting softly, whispering for His Majesty to stop laughing. And so, mid the absurd chaos, he still helped her out of the tangled ropes. The more he untied, the shakier he got, thinking if he failed now, he'd hardly be a man. Finally, he laughed, teasing, So, are you convinced now? Admit defeat yet? After a night of conquest, Tuoxin was neat and radiant by morning, as if nothing had happened. Meanwhile, Daila lay flat on the bed, dark-eyed and drained as though after a night-long battle. Just then, Lady Tuoxin appeared at the door, smiling as she said she'd go aid the spies in Shen Manor and reminded him to attend court. Daili groaned about facing old fox Taechun again. Being emperor felt like pulling a cart. Soon, he sat on the throne, watching officials kneel and chant Long Live the Emperor. He frowned, muttering that at this rate his head would end up on the city wall. The officials panicked, bowing lower, trembling at his sudden fury. Daili thundered, accusing them of hiding coal and iron mines right under his nose. While Taechun watched quietly, he ordered all Eastern District officials imprisoned in the Sky Prison that very day. The officials wailed, crying their innocence before His Majesty, but Daili roared, with the outskirts in chaos, Do you wear those hats just to eat filth? A hearty laugh broke out. It was Taechun, saying mildly, Calm down, Your Majesty. Daili narrowed his eyes, asking coolly if the Prime Minister had any wise ideas. Yang quickly stood, hands clasped, trembling as he flattered. Meanwhile, Taechun cursed inwardly, knowing he was cornered, but outwardly smiled, suggesting a thorough investigation for the nation's sake. Outwardly Daili nodded, but inwardly smirked. The old dog's taken the bait. Taechun smoothly suggested leniency to save the court's face. With Jiang Shen immediately echoing praises, the court perused agreement, fake harmony thick as smoke. Suddenly, Daili hurled his staff, striking the flattering minister right on the head. He said coldly, Since you're so sure, take this post and see if you can bear it. Minister trembled pale as paper, stammering wordlessly. Seeing tension rise, Taechun tried to soothe things, but before he finished, Jiang Shen bowed low, begging to stay silent. Then Daili turned icy, staring at the Prime Minister. What, do you plan to arrange my corpse too? Taechun jolted, bowing low and trembling. Your servant dares not. Daili snorted coldly, waving his hand. Then stay right there and let me see. He turned to Jiang Shen and, without a word, slapped him hard, making him stagger. Gritting his teeth, he barked, "Didn't you just shout the loudest? Outsiders might think you're a former Supreme Lord." The officials begged His Majesty to calm down, but Dai Li growled, "You're the Minister of Works, don't you know how vital iron ore is?" Pointing at the files, he shouted, "Here's solid proof, still covering for them. Why not melt yourself in iron instead?" His tone dropped sternly as he blamed the court's mismanagement for the innocent laborers' deaths in Dongshan. At last, he declared judgment. All involved officials exiled to Lingnan, never to return to the capital. The whole court shivered, bowing low and chanting, "Wise is His Majesty, we obey." Dai Li glanced at Tai Chun. "What say you?" After a long pause, the old man bowed, murmuring, "No opinion, Your Majesty." He jerked his chin. Yang dragged Minister Hao Wei as the man trembled and begged for mercy. Dai Li arched a brow coldly. "Oh, now you're scared." Just then, Lady Tuoxin entered, holding a letter. Her spies had found clues in the Shen Manor. Dai Li asked sharply, "What clue? Speak." But she raised a pan coyly. "Hit me twice first, then I'll tell," making him slam the table in fury. Pouting, she handed the letter over. "Shen Wan Jin burned it last night. This bit survived." "Don't be so fierce, Your Majesty." Dai Li read it, face darkening. "Money transferred to the Chang'an Bank." Tuoxin explained it's the biggest bank in Zongyuan. She wondered why Shen Wan Jin, rich beyond measure in the capital, would send money so far away. The note's burnt words barely legible. Dai Li squinted closer, spotting a faint extra character above the Ren. He slammed the table. "That's Ha. Could it be Minister Ha himself?" His voice grew sharp. "Corruption. No doubt. With proof, he'll dig up his whole nest." Tuoxin soothed him, adding, "The Shen steward snuck out last night with a woman." Dai Li frowned. A woman? Who could be tangled in this mess? Before he could think, Tuoxin's eye rushed and Lupian men found Lady Hong Xing at Luyi residence. Dai Li jumped up, commanding boldly, "Prepare. We ride now." He and his men disguised themselves and headed swiftly to the Luyi residence in the Pleasure District. At the door, a burly guard blocked them. "No strange men allowed here." Dai Li scowled. "What? Picky about customers now?" Just then, as tension rose, a familiar voice called from behind. A person held up a token. "They're my guests, invited to watch the show. Here's my seal." Dai Li froze. It was Hu Yuan, and he couldn't fathom why she was here. Hu Yuan winked subtly, whispering, "Let's go," her eyes hinting meaningfully. As they entered, Dai Li murmured, "Thanks, you came just in time again." Hu Yuan calmly replied, "Shed known Lady Hong Xing would appear and prepared for easy access." As soon as they sat, the hostess, Liu Shi, smiled. "Miss Hu Yu, perfect timing. I'll perform tonight. Please choose your favorite song." Hu Yuan smiled faintly, saying she was just here with friends to listen. "No need for such formality." Liu Shi replied graciously, "No matter. Choose freely. If you pick my song, none would dare claim second place." In his mind, he thought any man invited by Hu Yuan must be no ordinary figure, surely of high rank. He stepped closer, tone silky and suggestive. "And this gentleman, might the lady introduce us?" Dai Li shot him a look, cursing inwardly. "Damn, this guy's slicker than oil." Meanwhile, his hand clenched tight, tension strung like silk as he fought to stay composed and keep his identity hidden.